Introduction: The Pending Appointment. In your 20s, you run because you believe the world is yours. In your 30s, you build because you believe you are in control. But there comes a moment, generally after the 4th decade, when you stop. You look back and realize that the path you have traveled was not entirely your own. You begin to suspect that there were invisible threads moving your hands, choosing your partners, repeating your bankruptcies and dictating your silences, threads that you did not weave. You realize that, to a large extent, you have been the actor of a script written by dead people. If you are listening to this now, take a deep breath. It is not the YouTube or Spotify algorithm that brought you here. It is not a digital coincidence. It is an unstoppable appointment that your soul scheduled before you were born. It is the synchronicity of the universe telling you, it is time. You have survived the first half of the game. Now it is time to understand what the game was really about. This is not a book for spiritual children. We are not going to talk about how to manifest a sports car or how to get a raise. Those are distractions for the young ego. This is a book for the mature soul, for the man and woman who have already tasted success and failure and have discovered that both taste a bit like ash if there is no purpose behind them. We are here to talk about ancestral metaphysics, of what runs through your blood, of the silent pacts you signed in your mother's womb, of the forgotten grandparents who scream through your physical symptoms. The premise of this journey is radical. You are not an isolated individual. You are the spearhead of an immense lineage. Behind you are thousands of ancestors who survived wars, famines, and heartbreaks so that you could breathe today. They are in your cells. But they also left debts. They left frozen traumas, they left unwept griefs, and you, whether you know it or not, have been paying those emotional mortgages with your own life. Why does this book arrive now? Because you are at the turning point. Life is asking you to stop being loyal to the sadness of your clan and dare to be happy. But to be happy, you first have to put the house in order. You have to look the ghosts in the eye and tell them, I see you, I honor you, but this is my turn. In the next chapters, we are going to do the dirty and sacred work that most avoid. We are going to travel 7 generations back to heal the origin. And we are going to clear the path 7 generations forward so that your children and grandchildren do not have to carry the stones that you carry today. We are going to transform your pain into wisdom and your confusion into legacy. Do not be afraid. You are not alone in this. Your ancestors surround you, waiting for you, the black sheep, to be the one who turns on the light in the dark basement of the family. You arrived just in time. Welcome to your true legacy. Chapter 1: The Blood Mortgage, Invisible Loyalties. No one arrives in this life empty-handed. You think you are born as a blank page, ready to write your own story, but it is a pious illusion. You arrive with a full suitcase. You arrive with the unresolved fears of your father, with the unwept tears of your grandmother, and with the contained rage of a great-grandfather who lost his lands in a war. At 40, the suitcase starts to weigh too much. Your back, your finances, and your heartache, and you don't understand why, if you have done everything right, life feels so heavy. The answer lies in the invisible ink of your blood. You are paying a mortgage that you did not sign, but that your soul accepted out of blind love. Today we are going to read the fine print of that contract, so that you can finally stop paying. I, the river of memory beyond genetics. Look at your hands. Look at the lines on your palms, the shape of your fingers. Science will tell you that you are the result of a random combination of DNA. They will talk to you about phenotypes and genotypes. They will tell you that you have your mother's eyes and your father's nose. But ancestral metaphysics goes much deeper. Those hands are not new. They are ancient hands. They are the hands that tilled the earth 100 years ago. They are the hands that caressed children who died of fever. They are the hands that wielded weapons or prayed rosaries in the dark. Your blood is not just a biological fluid that transports oxygen. Your blood is a river of information. In every red blood cell travels the memory of your entire clan. Rupert Sheldrake, the British biologist, calls it morphogenetic fields. Bert Hellinger, the father of family constellations, called it the family soul. The name doesn't matter. The reality is the same. What is not resolved in one generation is repeated in the next. Imagine that your family system is a great accounting ledger, a book of debits and credits. The universe, in its infinite search for balance, homeostasis, does not allow anything to be lost. If a grandfather committed an injustice, stole an inheritance, abandoned a child, killed a man, an energetic imbalance is created, a debt. If that grandfather did not pay that debt in life, if he did not repair the damage, if he did not feel the guilt, if he died unpunished, the debt does not disappear. The debt moves down to the next generational step, and if your father didn't pay it either, it's your turn. At 40 years old, this is when this mortgage becomes due. Until your 20s or 30s, the vital force of youth allows you to run and hide. But in the middle of life, the borrowed energy runs out, and suddenly you find yourself in an inexplicable bankruptcy, or with a depression that has no logical cause in your present life, or with an autoimmune disease, the body attacking itself. It is not bad luck. It is the ancestral debt collector knocking at your door. It is your family system telling you someone has to balance the scales. We have chosen you. 2. Blind love. Why we repeat the pain. The logical question is, why me? Why would my soul accept to carry garbage that is not mine? The answer is the most powerful and dangerous force in the universe, belonging. For a human mammal, belonging is survival. A child prefers to be hit than to be ignored. A child prefers to die with their clan than to live alone in the jungle. This instinct for belonging generates what we call blind love. Blind love is an unconscious pact you make in your earliest childhood, or even in the womb. You look, with the eyes of the soul, at your depressed mother, or your alcoholic and failed father, and your childhood heart says, "Dad, I love you so much that I cannot allow myself. I cannot allow myself to be happier than you. If you suffer, I will suffer too. This way I make sure I am your child. This way I am loyal to you." This phrase, "I like you," is the most common prison sentence in human history. If all the women in my clan were mistreated or submissive, and I have a happy and respectful relationship, I feel a terrible guilt. I feel like I am betraying them. I feel like I stop being one of them. Then, unconsciously, I sabotage my happy relationship. I become unbearable, or I choose a man who becomes aggressive. I do this to return to the fold of family pain and say, "Look, grandmother, mom, I suffer too. I'm a good woman of this clan." This operates in the shadow. No one wakes up in the morning saying, "I want to ruin my life." But the family unconscious is millions of times stronger than your conscious will. Invisible loyalty pushes you into the abyss, and you jump smiling, believing it is destiny, when in reality it is an offering. It is a black mass of sacrifice. You are sacrificing your happiness on the altar of family loyalty. 3. The excluded, the ghosts who make noise. In every family system there are strict rules. The first law of the orders of love is, everyone has the right to belong. No one can be excluded. But human families, full of moral judgments and shame, constantly exclude. The uncle who committed suicide is excluded, and silence is kept about him. The grandfather who lost the fortune gambling is excluded. The great-grandfather's mistress is excluded. The unborn babies, abortions, who are never spoken of, are excluded. The victims of our perpetrators are excluded. When someone is excluded, erased from the photo or the official story, an unbearable pressure is created in the family soul. The system screams, "Someone is missing." And how does the system solve this absence? It makes a member of a later generation, you or your children, represent the excluded one. This is called unconscious identification. Suddenly you, who are a peaceful person, start having fits of uncontrollable rage. It is not your rage. You are channeling the rage of the murderous uncle whom everyone forgot. You are forcing the family to see him through you. Suddenly, a grandson starts drinking or doing drugs. He is looking with his behavior at the alcoholic grandfather who was despised. He is saying, "Oh, if you reject him, I will become just like him to bring him back." At 40, many of the symptoms that torment you, anxiety, insomnia, chronic failure, are actually the screams of ghosts. They are not ghosts in white sheets. They are excluded energies seeking recognition. If you feel out of place in your life, it is very likely that you are occupying the place of a dead person. You are living a vicarious life. You are not in your place. You are in the place of a ghost, trying to give life to someone who is already gone. First, money and profession. loyalties of scarcity. Let's talk about the material, because metaphysics is not ethereal. It manifests in your bank account. Money is life energy. It represents the mother and nutrition. If in your family there was hunger, war, or traumatic bankruptcies, the information recorded in the clan is, money is dangerous or having a lot is bad. Perhaps your great-grandfather was rich and was murdered for it. Invisible loyalty dictates, to survive you must not have money. You arrive at 40 years old with a good career, with talent, with opportunities. You start making money, and suddenly, crash, an absurd investment, a partner who cheats you, an unforeseen expense. Money slips through your fingers like water. Why? Because having money makes you feel guilty toward the poor ancestors. Having success feels like a betrayal to the father who failed. There is a genealogical glass ceiling. Your unconscious says, I cannot surpass my father, that would be disrespectful. Then you self-sabotage to stay at the same socio-economic level as your clan. You prefer to be innocent and poor rather than guilty and rich. Until you heal this, no finance course will make you a millionaire, because your poverty is a misunderstood act of love. The black sheep, the healer of the tree. This is where you come in. If this book has reached your hands, it is because you are not a passive repeater. You are the black sheep. Society uses this term as an insult, the wayward one, the weirdo, the problem. In ancestral metaphysics, the black sheep is a title of nobility. The black sheep is the seeker. It is the member of the clan born with a slightly higher level of consciousness or sensitivity, enough to realize that something is rotten in Denmark. The black sheep is the one who says, no, I am not going to hide the secrets. I am not going to hate men like my mother. I am not going to live sick like my grandfather. I will find another way. This generates friction. The family, the flock of white sheep following the precipice, will attack you. They will call you selfish, crazy, disloyal. They will try to return you to the fold through guilt. Look how you make your mother suffer with your weird decisions. That pressure is the trial by fire. If you yield to guilt, you return to the mortgage. If you withstand the guilt and follow your path, you become the healer of the tree. Bert Hellinger used to say, he who does not fit in the tree is the one destined to free it. By healing yourself, by cutting the pattern of repetition, you don't just free yourself. You free your children. You no longer pass the mortgage to them. And mysteriously you free your ancestors, because your grandparents don't want you to suffer. That is what your inner child believes. But your grandparents, from the other side, from the truth of the soul, are longing for someone to have the courage to do what they could not. They do not look at you with judgment. They look at you with hope. They are cheering you on. Do it. Be happy for all of us. Break the chain. Feather ritual of return, cancelling the debt. How do you get out of this? It is not an intellectual process. It is not enough to say, I understand now. It must be a movement of the soul. You have to go to the spiritual bank and return the package. This requires humility. Many times we carry our parents' problems out of arrogance. We believe as children that we are stronger than them. I will save you, Mom. That is violating the hierarchy. You are the small one, they are the big ones. The small cannot save the big. The small can only take the life that the big gave them and do something good with it. To cancel the mortgage, you must perform an internal act of renouncing the salvation of others. You must leave your parents and grandparents with their destiny, however hard it may be. Respecting their destiny means saying, you could handle your life, and I respect the price you paid. I am not better than you, nor stronger. I leave your pain with you because it is yours, and only you have the dignity to carry it. Practical visualization exercise. Do this in solitude with seriousness. Close your eyes. Visualize your parents behind you. Behind them, your grandparents. And so on, row after row, until they are lost in the mists of time. Feel the strength of that crowd. Feel the weight. Identify the burden you carry that is not yours. The sadness, the bankruptcy, the illness, the loneliness. Visualize it as a heavy object, a dark stone, or an ancient bundle that you carry in your backpack. Mentally turn around and look at your ancestors. Look for the one to whom that burden belongs. Sometimes you know, sometimes you intuit that it comes from far away. Take off the backpack, hold it with both hands. Bow your head. This is vital. The physical gesture of reverence breaks the arrogance of the ego. Say out loud, "Dear grandfather or ancestor, this is yours. I have carried it for you for 40 years out of love, believing that I was helping you. But I realize that I have only duplicated the suffering. Today, with love and respect, I return it to you. You are the big one, I am the small one. You can handle your destiny. I stay only with mine." Visualize how the ancestor receives the burden. See how upon receiving it, he looks more dignified, more complete, and you feel lighter. Add the final sentence of liberation. "Please look upon me with kindness if I dare to be happy, healthy, and prosperous, even if you could not be. In my happiness, I will honor your sacrifice. I will make your life have been worth it through my joy, not my pain." Turn back toward life, forward. Feel the empty space at your back. Now you have permission to walk light. 7. Good guilt versus bad guilt. After doing this, you will feel something strange, a mixture of relief and discomfort. That discomfort is guilt. It is the voice of the clan screaming, "Traitor, you are abandoning us." Here is the master key to spiritual maturity. You have to learn to endure good guilt. Bad guilt is what you feel when you stay in the hole with them. It is a regressive, infantile guilt. It is useless. It only perpetuates the pain. Good guilt is the price of freedom. It is the sensation of vertigo you have when differentiating yourself, when growing, when succeeding. Bert Hellinger said, "Innocence kills, guilt saves." The innocent child repeats the tragedy. The guilty adult breaks the pattern and creates new life. At 40 years old, you have to be able to hold that guilt. You have to say, "Yes, I feel a little guilty for being richer or happier than my father, but I assume that guilt and I move forward. I am not going to pay the toll of unhappiness anymore." With time, that guilt is transformed. It becomes gratitude. You realize that your ancestors did not want cellmates. They wanted someone to escape to tell the story of victory. You are your grandparents' dream. You are the answer to their prayers in the trenches. They didn't pray for you to suffer like them. They prayed for you to have the sweet life that was denied to them. If you suffer, you despise their gift. If you are happy, you validate it. Fez, the new contract. Once the mortgage is returned, you are left with an empty plot. You no longer have the victim's script. You no longer have the excuse of the cursed inheritance. Now you are free. And freedom is scary. Now you are responsible for your own life. If you fail, it is yours. If you win, it is yours. This is the moment of ancestral sovereignty. You sign a new contract, not with the past, but with the future. I, your name, accept life at the price it cost all of you, and I promise to do something good with it. The chain of pain ends here. The chain of strength starts here. Now you can look at your children, if you have them, or your projects, and you can tell them, "Look at me, I am a strong tree. I will not pass my fears to you. I will not pass my debts to you. You are free to be yourselves, because I have had the courage to be myself." Chapter 2. The Prenatal Contract. Why did I choose this family? It is the most heartbreaking question a human being asks in the solitude of their pillow. Why me? Why was I given this alcoholic father? Why this narcissistic and cold mother? Why was I born into scarcity, abuse, or abandonment? The rational mind, the victim within you, screams that it was a cosmic error, an injustice, a macabre lottery. But ancestral metaphysics has an answer that at first will infuriate you, and then will set you free. It was not an accident. It was a design. You are not the victim of your family. You are the architect of your own challenge. Before having a body, your soul sat before the souls of your parents and signed a sacred and terrible contract. I told them, "Maga, please be difficult. Be the anvil where I will forge my sword. Today we are going to read that contract." Chastity, the Hall of Souls, the planning. Imagine for a moment that you are not this 40, 50, or 60-year-old body tired of fighting. Imagine that you are pure energy. You are eternal consciousness, floating in the Hall of Souls, in the space between lives, Bardo. In that state, you have no fear, you have no pain, you are unconditional love and wisdom. But there is a problem. In the state of perfection, nothing new is learned. Muscle only grows with resistance. The diamond only forms with pressure. You, as a brave soul, want to evolve. You want to learn a specific lesson in the Earth School. Perhaps you want to learn compassion or independence or forgiveness or strength, but you cannot learn strength if you are born into a perfect family that gives you everything resolved. You cannot learn forgiveness if no one offends you. You cannot learn self-love if everyone flatters you from the cradle. To learn the lesson, you need the opposite. You need friction. So you scan the available timelines. You look for the perfect actors for your play. And you see two beings. Let's say you see a man with violent tendencies and a submissive and depressive woman. From a human vision, you would say, "No way, run away from there." But from the soul's vision, you say, "Perfect. That man will teach me to set boundaries and defend my truth, even if it's by shouting. That woman will teach me what I do not want to be, pushing me to seek my own joy. They are the pain masters I need." And so, with full consciousness and will, you choose them. You hand them the script. And they, out of love for your evolution, accept the role of villains. You sign the prenatal contract. And then, you cross the river of forgetfulness. You are born, and the show begins. And you forget that you were the director. Kairos parents as elite trainers. If you change the word toxic parents to elite trainers, your life changes instantly. An Olympic trainer is not kind. He doesn't tell you, "Rest, don't push yourself, eat pizza." An Olympic trainer wakes you up at 4 in the morning, screams at you, demands from you, puts impossible weights on your back. He pushes you to the limit of your physical and mental resistance. Sometimes you hate him, but thanks to that pressure, you become a champion. Your parents were hired by you to train a specific muscle of your soul. Look at it coldly. The absent father trained your muscle of self-sufficiency. He forced you to look for the internal father, to mature ahead of time, not to depend on external validation. If he had been there solving everything, perhaps today you would be a weak and dependent adult. The critical narcissistic mother trained your muscle of self-esteem. By not giving you value herself, she forced you into a desperate and finally internal search for your own worth. She pushed you to build a bulletproof identity because no external bullet hurt you as much as hers. The environment of poverty trained your muscle of creativity and ambition. It gave you the necessary hunger to go out and hunt your dreams. At 40 years old, you can no longer keep blaming the trainer for the pain of the training. You have to look at your muscles. Are you strong? Are you resilient? Are you deep? You owe that to them. Not to their love, but to their lack of it. Their darkness was the fuel for your light. Acknowledging the training does not mean justifying abuse. It means recognizing the spiritual utility of the experience. The wound is the map, the 5 wounds of the soul. Lise Bourbeau masterfully classified the 5 emotional wounds we come to heal: rejection, abandonment, humiliation, betrayal, and injustice. Your prenatal contract usually revolves around one of these main wounds. It is your doctoral thesis topic in this life. Your parents were in charge of activating the wound. Without the activation, no healing is possible. A latent wound cannot be cured. It has to bleed to be cleaned. If you chose to heal rejection, you chose parents who made you feel that you shouldn't be here, or who preferred another sibling, or that you were a burden. Your mission is to learn to take your place without asking permission. If you chose to heal abandonment, you chose parents who left physically or emotionally. Your mission is to learn to stay with yourself, to be your own mother and father, and not beg for affection. If you chose to heal humiliation, you chose parents who were ashamed of you, who controlled you or exposed you. Your mission is to learn freedom and dignity. If you chose to heal betrayal, you chose parents who promised and did not deliver, or who were seductive and liars. Your mission is to learn trust and leadership, the truth. If you chose to heal injustice, you chose cold, rigid, and authoritarian parents. Your mission is to learn flexibility and feeling, connecting with the heart. At 40 plus, the wound stops being a tragedy and becomes your purpose. If you suffered abandonment and healed it, now you are the best therapist or friend for the abandoned. Your wound is your medicine. It is your gift to the world. You couldn't help anyone if your life had been a bed of roses. Your pain gave you mastery. V. The sacrifice of the villains. This is the hardest part for the ego to swallow, but the most healing for the spirit. From the soul's perspective, playing the role of bad is a much greater sacrifice than playing the role of good. Think about it. For your father to be that violent and alcoholic being who damaged you so much, his own soul had to descend into hells, a very low vibration. He had to carry his own trauma, darken his own light, and generate a very heavy karma that he will have to balance in future lives. He did it at the soul level out of love for the contract he had with you. He accepted being the monster so that you could be the hero. In plays, the actor who plays Judas is as important as the one who plays Jesus. Without Judas, there is no crucifixion or resurrection. The story does not advance. Your parents were the necessary Judases of your story of personal resurrection. When you understand this, the hatred dissolves. It doesn't necessarily turn into romantic love. You don't have to go to dinner with them if they are toxic. But it turns into deep compassion. You see the immense burden they carried. You see that they too were children wounded by their own parents, fulfilling their own contracts. It is a chain of wounded actors hurting other actors, until one you wakes up, gets off the stage, and applauds the performance. V. The law of resonance. There are no errors. Sometimes people say, "I'm a very spiritual and good person. How could I choose these so basic and cruel parents?" That is spiritual ego. Ancestral metaphysics is based on the law of resonance. As within, so without. If you were born into that family, it is because your base vibration at birth mathematically resonated with theirs. Perhaps in other lives you were the victimizer, and now you come to experience the other side to balance, karma. Or perhaps your soul needed exactly that genetic and energetic mixture to detonate your talents. Imagine a cactus seed. If you plant it in a damp and soft forest, loving and soft parents, it rots. For the cactus to be strong and majestic, it needs arid land, scorching sun, and little water, hard parents. You are that cactus. You chose the desert because you were a cactus, not an orchid. If you had had perfect parents, according to your fantasy, you wouldn't be who you are today. You would be a diluted, weak, and probably boring version of yourself. Your family is the perfect ecosystem for your spiritual species. Fierce. Complaining is childish, acceptance is adult. Reaching the middle of life, 40, 50 years, and still complaining about what mum didn't do or what dad said, is a symptom of arrested development. It is the eternal child throwing a tantrum. Complaining keeps you tied to the contract in the victim position. While you blame your parents for your current unhappiness, you are giving them the power over your life. You are saying, "They have the key to my well-being, and since they didn't give it to me 30 years ago, I can't get in." To assume the prenatal contract is to recover the key. It is saying, "I designed this, I hired the experience. The experience already happened, I already learned what I had to learn. Now, the contract is fulfilled." When you assume authorship of your life, the complaint disappears. There are no more guilty parties. There are only collaborators. Some collaborated by loving you. Others collaborated by hurting you. Both helped you grow. Spiritual adulthood arrives the day you can look at your parents, living or dead, and see them simply as men and women, not as failed gods, not as demons, but as ordinary human beings full of flaws, fears, and limitations, who did what they could with the scant tools they had. Seeing their humanity frees you from your childish expectation of perfection. Zezu, breaking the contract, the graduation. Does this mean you have to endure mistreatment forever because it's a contract? Absolutely not. The goal of the contract is to learn the lesson. Once learned, the contract dissolves. If your father mistreated you so you would learn to set boundaries, the contract is fulfilled the day you tell him, "Enough! Up to here. I don't allow you to talk to me like that ever again." At that moment, you have passed the exam. The teacher, parent, is no longer necessary. You can walk away. You can cut the relationship if it is toxic, but you walk away from peace and firmness, not from resentment and flight. You walk away like a graduate leaving the university, not like a child running away from home. Breaking the contract means their actions no longer determine your emotions. If they continue to be toxic, it's their problem, not yours. You have already extracted the gold from the situation. You no longer need the coal. Fate, practice the staff meeting. We are going to rewrite the story in your psyche. This active visualization exercise is potent. Do it in silence. The ascent. Close your eyes, take a deep breath. Visualize that you are climbing a staircase of golden light, step by step, until you reach a large white room, luminous and peaceful. You are outside of time. It is the Hall of Souls. The summons. In that room, summon your father's soul and your mother's soul, remember. You are summoning their higher selves, not their limited human personalities. Their souls are pure light. The recognition. Look them in the eyes. They are not old or sick here. They are eternal beings, your fellow travelers. The dialogue. Tell them mentally. I recognize the agreement we made. I remember asking you to be my tough teachers. I see how difficult it was for you to play that role on Earth. I see the pain you caused yourselves to wake me up. The question. Ask them, what was the hidden gift behind the pain? What did you want me to learn? Listen to the answer. It may come as a word, an emotion, or an image, e.g., strength, freedom, compassion. The liberation. Once you receive the gift, tell them, I received the lesson, I have learned, the training is over. I no longer need pain to remember who I am. I break the contract of suffering and sign a new contract of love and freedom between us. I free you from being my executioners. I free myself from being your victim. The farewell. Watch them smile, relieved that you have finally understood the game. They turn into light and move away. The return. Go down the stairs feeling like the master of your destiny. Chapter 3. The Lost Twin and the Womb. Existential loneliness. There is a type of loneliness that is not cured by company. You can be married, have children, be surrounded by friends at a noisy party, and yet feel an icy wind blowing through your chest. It is the feeling that you are missing something fundamental, that you arrived in the world incomplete. You have spent decades searching for your better half. You've searched for that perfect partner, that soulmate, believing it is a romantic quest. But ancestral metaphysics suggests something more visceral and biological. You are not looking for a future love. You are looking for a love lost at the origin. You are looking for the hand you let go of in your mother's womb. Today we speak of a secret. Today we speak of the best-kept secret in biology, the vanishing twin and the memory of water. I, the first ocean, the liquid school. Before you breathed air, you breathed water. For 9 months, your entire universe was the maternal womb. We tend to think of that stage as a waiting period, a biological incubator where your fingers and lungs simply grew. This is a huge mistake. The womb is not a waiting room. It is an intensive initiatory school today in your life now. It is the place where you downloaded the first emotional operating system of your life. Amniotic fluid is a conductor of information. Water has memory. Every time your mother felt fear, her blood was filled with cortisol and adrenaline, and you, floating inside her, drank that fear. Every time she felt sadness or rejection, you absorbed it. You had no filters. You did not have a separate I, you were her. Many of the irrational fears you have today at 40, fear of life, fear of not being enough, anxiety without reason, are not yours. They are aquatic echoes. They are the emotions of a scared woman that entered your nervous system and remained recorded as the truth of life. Healing the womb is learning to distinguish between your own water and the water of the source where you swam. TOSA, the vanishing twin syndrome. But there is something more dramatic that occurs in those deep waters. Modern embryology has discovered a shocking statistic. It is estimated that 1 in 8 pregnancies begins as a multiple, but only 1 in 70 ends in the birth of twins. What does this mean? It means a huge number of people walking the street today were accompanied. They had a brother or sister in the womb, a twin. They shared the space, the heartbeat, and the touch of skin for weeks or months, and then one of them stopped growing. They vanished. They were reabsorbed by the mother's body or the placenta, vanishing twin, and you were left alone. For medicine, this is an unimportant event, but for the psyche of the survivor, this is a nuclear catastrophe. Imagine being an incipient consciousness that only knows love through contact with another equal, and suddenly that other one grows cold. They stop moving, they disappear. You experience death before experiencing birth. You experience abandonment in your first relationship. This imprint remains recorded in the brain's amygdala and in cellular memory. You are born with a frozen grief. You are born mourning a loss that has no name because no one told you that they existed. Third, survivor's guilt, the sabotage. If you are a lone twin, your adult life will be marked by an invisible pattern, the guilt of being alive. Unconsciously, your soul feels, I lived, they died, I took all the space, all the food, I am a usurper, I don't deserve to be here totally. How does this manifest at 40? Through self-sabotage right now in your world today. You are about to have success in your career and you ruin it. You are in a wonderful relationship and you destroy it. You have health and you stop taking care of yourself. Why? Because a part of you feels it has no right to enjoy when your other half could not. Success feels like a betrayal to the dead brother or sister. If I shine too much, I forget them. To remember them, I must remain in the shadow at half throttle. You live at 50%. You eat for 2, inexplicable obesity. You buy things in duplicate, or you work for 2, hyperactivity, trying to live the life they didn't have, but always with the handbrake on. This guilt is toxic. The best way to honor their brief existence is not by dying in life, but by living doubly happy. Fes, the search for fusion, impossible relationships. The most painful symptom of the lost twin occurs in love. The lone twin desperately seeks to recreate the intrauterine sensation of total fusion. They do not look for a partner. They look for a symbiosis. They look for someone who understands them without speaking, who is always there breathing at their same rhythm in their life now. They seek to return home. The problem is that no husband, no wife, no human lover can fill the gap of a spiritual twin. Your partner is an individual being, different, with their own rhythms. When your partner needs space, the lone twin enters panic. They feel that distance as a repetition of the original death today. They are leaving. They are dying. I am left alone in the cold again. This generates suffocating relationships, irrational jealousy, and emotional dependence. Or, on the contrary, it generates total avoidance. I will never love anyone again because to love means to see the other die. At 40, you have to ask who you are hugging. If you seek your twin, you are condemned to frustration. Your partner is not your twin. Your partner is an adult life companion. Healing implies stopping the projection of the ghost onto the living. The physical symptoms and curiosities. The body speaks. The body never lies. The memory of the twin usually appears in biology. 1. Dermoid cysts, teratomas containing hair or teeth. 2. Sensation of cold, an internal cold on one side of the body that cannot be removed with clothing. 3. Spine problems, scoliosis, the body curving to embrace a void, right now, today. 4. Sleeping with pillows, the imperious need to sleep hugging something or someone or pressed against the wall. 5. Mirror vision, writing backwards as a child or confusing left and right. If you recognize these signs, do not be afraid. Your body is simply telling the story that your mouth could not tell today now. It is your biology's way of saying, I was not alone, there was someone else. That's differentiation. I am alive, you are in the light. The healing of vanishing twin syndrome passes through differentiation. For decades, you have lived mixed with the energy of a dead person. You have lived for both. You have felt their sadness as yours. Now comes the moment to perform a spiritual surgical separation. You must inform your unconscious of the truth today now. The event ended. I survived, they left. These are two different destinies. Accepting that you have a body and they do not is not an act of selfishness. It is an act of order. The order of the universe dictates that the living belong to the earth and the dead to the light. If you try to live half dead, you violate the order. True love is letting go. It is telling them, go to the light. I will stay here a little longer. I will see you later. Zeus, the ritual of farewell and welcome. This is a deep psychomagic act. You need an object that represents your twin. A cushion, a candle, a stone, a stuffed animal. 1. The encounter. Sit in a quiet place. Put the object in front of you. Intuit if it was a boy or girl. Give them a name if it feels right. 2. The recognition. Say out loud, I see you today. For years I looked for you in my partners, in food, in work. I looked for you in the void of my chest. I didn't know it was you. Today I give you your place. You were my first companion. Thank you for having accompanied me. 3. Validation of pain. I am so sorry you left so soon. I felt alone and guilty. Today I know it was not so. 4. Separation. Crucial. Visualize a line of light between you and the object. Today I release you. You no longer have to live through me. Go to the great light, and I give myself permission to live fully, without guilt. I promise that my happiness will be the tribute to your memory. I will be the one who laughs now. 5. Closing. Light a small candle in their honor. Keep the object in a beautiful box or bury it symbolically, knowing they are no longer lost, but found and released. Phase from loneliness to solitude. When you heal the twin, a miracle occurs. Loneliness stops hurting. That hole in your chest closes. You no longer desperately need someone to fill you. You begin to enjoy your own company. You pass from loneliness, lack of the other, to solitude, fullness of being. You realize you were never incomplete. You are a whole orange, not a half orange, and from that wholeness you can, for the first time in your life, love a real partner. You can love someone for who they are, not for the hole they cover. Relationships stop being medicine and become celebration. Touch the womb as a temple, healing the mother. Finally, the cycle must be closed with the origin, Mom's womb. Your mother knew nothing of this. She was also scared. Perhaps she lost children before you. Healing your passage through the womb implies returning her fears to her. Visualize yourself again floating in those waters. Visualize your skin becoming waterproof. The fear of Mom is outside in the water, but you are inside, in your center, connected to your own divine spark. Say, Mom, this fear is yours. I am only the baby. I am innocent. I am light. By clearing your prenatal memory, you reset yourself. You are born again, but this time from your own will today. Chapter 4. The Genius Loki, the Spirit of the Territory. You think you chose your house because it was close to work, because it had a good price, or because you liked the light in the kitchen. It is a half-truth. In Ancestral Metaphysics, houses are not inanimate objects made of brick and cement. They are living entities with memory, a stomach, and a character. The Romans called it the genius loci, the spirit of the place. Your house chose you. It attracted you magnetically because its history resonates with your history. If there is dampness in your house, it is because there is ancient weeping in your family system. If the pipes break, it is because there are overflowing emotions. Emotions that have not been spoken. Your home is the second skin of your soul, and today we are going to learn to read its walls as if they were a map of your unconscious. The third skin, the brick womb. The human being inhabits 3 bodies. 1. The biological body, the skin, the organs. 2. The textile body, clothing, our social mask. 3. The architectural body, the house. At 40, the house takes on capital importance. It is no longer a place of passage as in your 20s. It is the refuge, the sanctuary, where you face your solitude. Metaphysically, the house is an external projection of your interior. It is a brick womb that you build around yourself to feel safe. That is why, when you enter someone's house, you immediately know how their psyche is, even if they smile and tell you everything is fine. Disorder, smell, light, everything screams the truth. If your original maternal womb, chapter 3, was cold or insecure, it is very likely that as an adult, you seek houses that replicate that coldness or insecurity, or that you go to the opposite extreme and build impregnable fortresses. The house does not lie. It is the most honest mirror you have. If you want to know how your relationship with your mother is, look at your kitchen, the home nutrition. If you want to know how your relationship with your father is, look at the roof and the structures, protection, limits. To the memory of the walls, psychometry. The walls have ears, the saying goes. Metaphysics says, the walls have memory. Construction materials, stone, wood, concrete, silicon, crystals, have an energetic retention capacity. This is called psychometry. They absorb the vibration of what happens inside them. If you buy a house where there was a traumatic divorce or violence, that information is recorded on the walls, like on a magnetic tape. You arrive happy with your new furniture. But after 3 months, you start to feel sad. You start fighting with your partner for no reason. You start sleeping poorly. You are breathing the residual atmosphere of the previous tenants. The genius loci of that house is wounded. It is loaded with pain and it is using you to process it. This is especially critical on ancient lands. If you build your house on land where there was a battle, a forgotten cemetery, or an injustice, the spirit of the land will demand recognition. Strange phenomena, noises, nightmares, the feeling of being watched, are not usually Hollywood ghosts. They are the earth screaming. The earth demands that what happened there be honored. If you ignore the history of the ground you step on, the ground will destabilize you. 3 symptoms of the house, the systemic diagnosis. Your house speaks to you through its breakdowns. For the logical mind, a breakdown is a maintenance problem. For the symbolic mind, a breakdown is a psychosomatic symptom of the family system. Water leaks, emotions. Water symbolizes the emotional body and the mother. Dampness that reappears no matter how much you paint. Deep sadness, unwept grief, depression in the mother or woman of the house. Sudden floods, emotional overflow, contained crying crisis that explodes. Leaks in the roof, feeling unprotected. Electricity, nervous system, anger. Electricity is fire, impulse, father. Light bulbs that constantly blow. There is an excess of aggressive tension in the air. There are unspoken screams, short circuits, nervous breakdown, unsustainable stress. Doors and windows, orifices. Doors that do not close or get stuck. Difficulty setting boundaries for others. Broken or dirty windows. Cloudy vision of the future, fear of looking out. Foundations and floors, roots. Cracks in the structure. The base of the family is breaking. Financial instability or lack of support from ancestors. At 40, stop just calling the plumber. Also call your consciousness. While you fix the pipe, the physical, ask yourself, what emotion is escaping me? Where am I losing vital energy? If you fix what is inside, the external breakdown usually stops repeating. If disorder and accumulation, fear of scarcity. Enter the storage room, the garage, or that room you keep closed, the chaos room. What is there? Boxes of clothes you haven't worn since 1999. Wedding gifts you hate but don't throw away out of pity. Papers from 20 years ago. Accumulation is fossilized fear. It is the memory of the war and post-war of your grandparents. They went hungry. They couldn't throw anything away because a nail is a nail and who knows if there will be any tomorrow. That trauma of scarcity lives in you. You accumulate just in case. But energetically, every useless object you keep is an anchor that ties you to the past. A house full of dead objects leaves no room. The genius low-chi suffocates. The chi, vital energy, does not circulate. At 40, decluttering is a shock therapy. Throwing away old things is telling the universe, I trust that tomorrow I will have what I need. I don't need to keep trash for fear of the future. It is an act of faith. Also, objects retain the energy of the moment they were used. Keeping letters from a toxic ex-boyfriend is keeping his vibration in your bedroom. Keeping clothes from when you were sick is inviting the illness back. Be relentless. Your house should contain only what you are today and what you want to be tomorrow. Exile and uprooting, living far from the clan. We live in a globalized world. Many of us do not live where we were born. We have emigrated for work or love. This has a metaphysical cost, uprooting. The transplanted tree suffers if it is not well cared for. Sometimes you feel that your current house is just a hotel. You don't take root. You feel a chronic nostalgia for the motherland, or vice versa. You flee from your motherland because it was toxic and you disown it. Both stances weaken you. The genius loci of your new land will not accept you if you do not respect it. If you live in a foreign city complaining about it, the city will spit you out. To be adopted by a land, you have to ask permission. You have to say, land of welcome, I come with respect. I honor your history and your dead. I ask permission to prosper here without forgetting where I come from. And to your homeland, motherland, I carry you in my heart. I take your strength. This integrates them. For the bedroom, the sanctuary of the unconscious. The most sacred place in the house is where you sleep. There, for 8 hours, your soul leaves the body and travels. There you are vulnerable. Analyze your bedroom with a shaman's eyes. Under the bed, what is there? If you have old shoes, suitcases, or bills, you are sleeping on energy of walking, leaving, or debts. Sleep will not be restorative. Under the bed, there should be emptiness or soft things, clean sheets. Mirrors. Mirrors are portals. If you have a mirror in front of the bed that reflects you while you sleep, your energy bounces all night. It can cause chronic fatigue. Cover it or move it. Family photos. In the couple's bedroom, there should be no photos of parents or children, only of the couple. If you have your mother watching from the nightstand while you make love, well, you understand the systemic problem. The bedroom is exclusive territory. The ancestors go to the living room. Seventh, honoring the previous ones, the excluded of the house. Sometimes the house has a curse. No one lasts there. Couples break up, businesses fail. Investigate the history. Who lived there before? Was it a house repossessed by the bank? Someone lost their home with pain. Did someone die alone and no one found them for days? Was it built on unjustly expropriated land? If the house was obtained thanks to another's misfortune, e.g. judicial auction, you have a systemic debt to the previous owner. Although you have paid for it legally, energetically, there is an imbalance. You have to include the previous owner in your heart. You have to say, I am very sorry you lost this house. I see your pain. Because you left, I was able to enter. I will honor this house and care for it in your name. You have a place in the memory of this home. This pacifies the genius loci. The house stops feeling stolen and starts to feel handed over. Fate, the ritual of possession and welcome. At 40 plus, maybe you move to your final home, or you want to heal the one you already have. You need to perform an act of spiritual taking of possession. It is not enough to sign the deed before a notary. You have to sign before the spirit of the place. The ritual of the guardian. Physical cleaning. First, clean thoroughly. Throw away the broken, ventilate. Dust is stagnant energy. Sound cleaning. Use bells, Tibetan bowls, or simply loud claps in the corners. Sound breaks the accumulated emotional static. The dialogue. Sit in the center of the house. Touch the floor with your palms. Close your eyes and visualize the house as a living being. Say, hello, house. I am your name. I recognize you as my refuge. I ask permission to inhabit you. Promise to care for you. Protect us. Be a place of peace. The offering. Ancient people buried coins or left milk and honey. You can put a bowl with fresh flowers or a nice crystal at the entrance. It is a gift for the spirit of the house. Define the purpose. Decree what you want that house to be. This house is a territory of health. This house is a sanctuary of love. The word creates the atmosphere. Zaite, when the house expels you, selling or leaving. Sometimes, no matter how hard you try, you are not well in a house. Everything breaks, you get sick, you are robbed. It could be that the genius loci is expelling you. Perhaps that house has already fulfilled its function. Perhaps your vibration has changed so much that you are no longer compatible. Or perhaps the house has a karmic burden too heavy for you to heal. At 40 years old, one must have the wisdom to know how to leave. Do not cling to bricks out of ego or investment. Your peace is worth more than the square meters. If the house expels you, thank it. Thank you for showing me that it is not here. I am leaving to find my place. Sometimes leaving is the only way to heal. Chapter 5. The Egregores, Collective Psychic Vampires. Have you ever entered a house where they had just finished arguing and, even though there was silence, the air felt thick, almost electric, and suddenly you felt angry or sad for no reason? Or have you gone to a football stadium and found yourself shouting and insulting with a fury that does not belong to you? It is not you. It is the entity. In ancestral metaphysics, we know that thoughts are not smoke, they are things. They have mass, they have vibration, and when many come together, they take on a life of their own. They are called egregores. They are artificial collective souls that feed on your attention and your emotion. Your family has one. Your company has one. Your country has one. And if you feel exhausted, confused, and without purpose at the midpoint of your life, it is very likely that you are serving as a battery for one of these invisible beasts. Today we are going to learn how to disconnect from the hive. To the anatomy of the invisible. Thought is matter. To understand how your energy is stolen, you must first accept a premise of quantum physics and ancient occultism. Thought creates reality. When you have a thought charged with emotion, e.g., "I am afraid of the future," you emit a wave of energy. If it is a fleeting thought, the wave dissipates, but what if that thought is recurring? What if you think it every day for 10 years? That energy accumulates, it densifies. It becomes a thought form, a tulpa in Tibetan Buddhism. It begins to float in your aura like a static cloud. Now scale this to a collective level. Imagine a family where for 5 generations everyone has thought, money is bad, the rich are thieves. We are poor but honest. That thought has been fed by the grandfather, the father, the uncles, and now you. It is no longer a simple belief. It has gained autonomy. It has developed a survival instinct. It has become an egregore. An egregore is an autonomous psychic entity, formed by the sum of the mental and emotional energies of a group. Once created, the egregore has only one goal: to continue existing. And to exist, it needs to eat. What does it eat? The same energy that created it. In this case, resentment towards money and the validation of poverty. If you, the black sheep, from Chapter 1, try to earn money and be prosperous, the family egregore starves. Then it attacks you. It makes you feel guilt. It causes you anxiety. It makes you sabotage yourself. It sends you thoughts that are not yours. Who do you think you are? You're going to fail. It is not your intuition speaking to you. It is the clan's psychic vampire trying to milk you so that you return to the fold and give it its daily ration. Tut, the family egregore, the black cloud of Sundays. At 40, many fear family gatherings, Christmas, birthdays, Sunday lunches. You go with the best intention. You tell yourself, today I won't argue. Today I will be calm. But you cross the door of the maternal home, and in 15 minutes you are 12 years old again. You are on the defensive. Stupid comments irritate you. You feel drained. You leave there with a monumental headache and a sadness that lasts 2 days. That is the family egregore acting. It is a dense psychic atmosphere that possesses the members of the clan so that they play their assigned roles. The egregore pressures the uncle to make the same sexist comment as always. The egregore pressures your mother to play the victim. And the egregore pressures you to react with anger. Bam! Conflict, shouts, cries. The egregore has a feast. It has achieved an explosion of emotional energy, louche, that will keep it fat and strong until next Christmas. Understanding this is liberating. You stop blaming your mother or your brother-in-law. You realize they are puppets, marionettes temporarily possessed by an ancestral inertia. They do not have enough consciousness to see it. You do. You can enter that house and not react. If you do not react, you do not feed the beast. If you stay in your center observing the drama. Observing the drama as someone watching a movie, you become invisible and indigestible to the egregore. You become a poor conductor of its electricity, and eventually they will leave you in peace because you do not serve as food. Thus, social polarization, ideological vampires. We live in the age of indignation. Open social media or turn on the news. Everything is designed to make you angry. Left versus right, men versus women, carnivores versus vegans. These are not rational debates, they are egregore wars. Every political ideology or massive social movement has a giant egregore floating over it. They are immense black clouds that cover entire countries. To survive, these egregores need adepts. They need you to identify totally with them. I am from this party. I am from this team. The moment you say I am, you hand over your sovereignty to the egregore. You connect to the cloud. From then on, you stop thinking for yourself. You start repeating slogans. You start hating people you don't know just because they wear the color of the enemy. Hatred is the most nutritious food for these monsters. The side A egregore needs the side B egregore to fight. They feed back on each other. They are partners in crime. While you fight on Twitter, you lose your peace. While you lose your health, both egregores get fat. You lose life, they gain permanence. At 40, you have to ask yourself, how much of my vital energy am I giving away to causes that don't really matter to me? Is your stomach ulcer worth it for a politician who doesn't even know you exist? Is your insomnia worth it for an internet argument? Recovering your energy means withdrawing attention. It means becoming neutral. The true rebel is not the one who shouts at the demonstration. The that often feeds the system. The true rebel is the one who cannot be emotionally manipulated, the one who looks at the circus and continues cultivating their garden. Fear the corporate egregore, the soul of the company. You spend 8, 10, or 12 hours a day at your job. Companies also have egregores. They have an organizational culture, which is the fancy name for their collective spirit. There are companies with luminous egregores, collaboration, growth. But many have predatory egregores, fear, competition, exploitation. If you work in a place where the air can be cut with a knife, where the fear of being fired is constant, and where the psychopath is rewarded, you are being vampirized. You get home, and you don't have the strength to play with your children or make love to your partner. You are dry, the company is charging you in soul. The burnout phenomenon, being burnt out, is metaphysically a parasitic possession. The company's egregore has entered your psyche so much that you take work to bed. You dream about work. You wake up distressed by work. You have lost your individuality. You are a cell of the corporate beast. To protect yourself, you need disconnection rituals. You cannot be an employee 24 hours a day. When leaving the office, visualize that you take off an invisible suit, the egregore suit, and hang it on the door. Tell yourself, my contract ends here for today. I recover my energy. I am your name, free being. If you do not make this conscious cut, you contaminate your home, your temple, chapter 4, with the psychic trash of your office. The symptoms of being under influence. How do you know if you are thinking your own thoughts, or if you are channeling an egregore? Here is the test of discernment for maturity. 1. Disproportionate emotion. If something small causes you a murderous rage or inconsolable weeping, it is not you. It is an accumulated charge that comes from outside or from behind. Mechanical repetition. You find yourself saying clichés that your father used to say, or television slogans without having analyzed them. You are a repeater, not a creator. 3. Sudden exhaustion. You are fine. You enter a group, meeting, party, family, and suddenly you feel flattened, with a desire to flee. Loss of own values. You do things in a group that you would never do alone, mocking someone, drinking in excess, being cruel. It is the hive mind overriding your individual ethics. If you detect this, stop, breathe, ask yourself, is this mine? Whose emotion is this? Just with the question, you break the spell. The egregore hates being observed. It works in unconsciousness. By putting light consciousness on it, it weakens. Repay, how to starve the beast, the diet of indifference. You cannot fight an egregore. Remember, if you fight, you feed it. If you hate your toxic family, you give them energy. If you fight the political system with rage, you give it energy. The only way to win is to starve them. The egregore's food is reactive attention. The absence of food is conscious indifference. Vadim Zeland calls this failing the pendulum. When the egregore provokes you, e.g. your mother criticizes you, it expects you to react, get angry or cry. If you instead react with something unexpected or with emptiness, the egregore falls. If your mother says, "You've gained weight, you look horrible," and you respond with a genuine and calm smile, "You might be right, Mom, pass me the salt." Crash. The power cable has been cut. The vampire bites the air. There is no blood, emotion to drink. Doing this requires brutal ego training. The ego wants to defend itself. The ego wants to be right. But the soul wants peace. At 40, you prefer to have peace than to be right. Practice the art of being a grey wall. Be boring for dramas. Be neutral. When you stop being an interesting food source, the egregore will look for another victim and leave you free. 7th, luminous egregores, the protection. Not everything is darkness. Just as parasitic egregores exist, angelic or protective egregores exist. They are created in the same way, some of thoughts and emotions, but this time of love, gratitude, and healing. When a group of people gathers to meditate or pray for peace, they create an egregore of light. A healthy family creates a family spirit that nurtures, protects, and drives its members, instead of draining them. A conscious couple creates a third being, the relationship, that is stronger than the two separately. At this age, your responsibility is to choose your egregores. Tell me who you walk with, and I will tell you what egregore feeds you. If you hang out with friends who only complain about the crisis, about diseases and how bad everything is, you are bathing in sewage. If you hang out with people who create, who laugh, who seek solutions and who are grateful, you are connecting to a power source. Connect consciously to positive energy currents. Join volunteer groups, art groups, spiritual study groups. There the exchange is symbiotic, not parasitic. You give energy and receive double. Fate, the solitude of the sovereign. Leaving toxic egregores has a price: solitude. At first, when you stop playing the game of family or society, you are left alone. They call you weird, antisocial, selfish. You stop receiving invitations to the complaint parties. This solitude scares. It feels like cold. It is the withdrawal syndrome of belonging. But it is a necessary phase. It is the desert that must be crossed to reach the promised land. In that solitude, you recover your own voice. You start to hear what you think, not what the group thinks through you. You start to feel your real emotions. You become a sovereign individual. A sovereign does not need to belong to be. He belongs to himself. And paradoxically, when you have found yourself, you begin to attract other sovereigns. You no longer look for a flock to hide in. You look for a tribe of lions to share the hunt. Relationships change in quality. They pass from need to freedom. Society, the legacy of the free mind. What does this have to do with the legacy for your children? Everything. If you live plugged into the egregore of fear and scarcity, your children will inherit that connection. They will be born with the Wi-Fi connected to that black cloud. If you disconnect, if you clean your mind, if you become a free thinker, you cut the cable for them too. You teach them by example that it is not mandatory to suffer on Sundays. You teach them that it is not mandatory to hate the neighbor. You teach them that one can live in the world without being devoured by the world. Your greatest inheritance will not be a house or a bank account. It will be a free mind. It will be the ability to enter and leave groups without losing the soul. It will be psychic immunity. Chapter 6. The Golden Shadow, the Repressed Talent. You reach the middle of life and feel a strange fatigue. It's not physical. You've slept 8 hours. It's not intellectual. Your career is going well. It is a fatigue of the soul. It is the feeling that you have become a grey official of your own existence. You have complied with everyone. You have been the good son, the responsible father. But looking in the mirror, you see a stranger. You see someone who has traded security for vitality. Jungian psychology has a name for what's happening. You have fed your social mask so much that you've starved your essence. But what you buried was not dead. It is alive, furious, and pounding on the basement door. They are not monsters. They are your talents, your passion, and your genius, which you locked away because they were too much for this world. Today we are going to go down to the basement to rescue your gold. I, the bag we drag, the soul's junkyard. The poet Robert Bly described the human personality with a brutal metaphor. We are all born as a 360-degree sphere of light. We are pure energy, radiant, loud, and creative. But soon, our parents and society give us an invisible bag and tell us, put in there what we don't like. At 3 years old, you scream with joy and your mother says, be quiet, don't make noise. You put your voice and your spontaneity in the bag. At 5 years old, you paint a blue sun and your teacher says, suns are yellow, do it right. You put your creativity and your unique vision in the bag. At 10, your father says, men don't cry. You put your sensitivity in the bag. At 15, you show sexual desire or ambition, and they tell you that is dirty or selfish. You put your passion and your power in the bag. At 20, the bag is already huge and heavy, and you drag it behind you. But you are young and strong, so you pull it. You build an acceptable personality, the mask. You build it with the little you left outside, being polite, being punctual, being logical. But at 40 or 50 years old, your arm gets tired. You can't drag the bag even 1 meter more. You stop in the middle of life's path and say, I can't take it anymore, I'm sick of being good. And you look back, that bag is not full of trash. That is the golden shadow. It is full of pure gold. It is full of the vital energy you desperately need right now so as not to dry up and die while still living. Ter's midlife crisis, a cry for help. Society mocks the midlife crisis. The man who buys a motorcycle, the woman who starts to paint or travel alone, They call it immaturity. They call it ridiculous. Ancestral Metaphysics calls it the cry of the soul. It is not a crisis. It is a course correction. Imagine you are a brilliant musician who has spent 20 years as an accountant. You did it because music doesn't pay. Your soul came to play symphonies and you have kept it filling out Excel sheets. At 40, the soul says, "Time's up. If you don't let me play music, I'm going to destroy your accounting." And you fall into depression, or you have a heart attack, or you get fired, or you get divorced. The soul prefers to destroy your false life than to allow you to continue ignoring your true life. The crisis is the symptom that the golden shadow is pressing to get out. That repressed energy has so much built-up pressure that if you don't open the door voluntarily, it will tear the house down. Depression at this age is usually not about sadness, it is about suppression. Depression, deep rest of the mask. Your psyche is exhausted from pretending to be normal when it is actually extraordinary. Threat, envy as a compass, the treasure map. How do you know what's in your bag? So many years have passed that you no longer remember who you were. There is an infallible, though embarrassing tool: envy. Envy is not a sin, it is a map. Tell me whom you envy, and I will tell you who you are in secret. If you envy the friend who travels the world without ties, you have an adventurer in your shadow. If you envy or angrily criticize that woman who dresses extravagantly and speaks loudly, you have an eccentric artist muzzled in your shadow. If you envy the entrepreneur who takes risks and earns millions, you have a leader. We project our golden shadow onto others. We see in them the light we do not dare to recognize in ourselves. We call it admiration or envy, hatred. But in both cases, it is your gold reflected in someone else's mirror. The next time you feel that sting of jealousy, stop. Do not attack them. Say, "Cool, thank you for showing me what I also am. If I see it in you, it is because it is in me. I am going to recover that." Fee, the fear of our own light, Jonah complex. Abraham Maslow, the great humanist psychologist, discovered something surprising. We fear our greatness more than our smallness. He called it the Jonah complex, after the prophet who fled his divine mission. We are afraid of being mediocre, yes, but it terrifies us infinitely more to be powerful, brilliant, and magnificent. Why? Because shining has an ancestral cost, solitude, and judgment. In the primitive tribe, if you stood out too much, you were dangerous. They could expel or kill you. If you were the most beautiful woman or the wisest healer, they called you a witch and burned you. If you were the most visionary man, they called you crazy and banished you. You carry the trauma of persecution for shining in your DNA. That's why when you're about to launch that project, write that book, or change your life, you panic. Your reptilian brain screams, "Don't do it. Duck your head. If they see you, they'll kill you." And you self-sabotage. You stay in your grey job. You stay in your lukewarm relationship, in your uncomfortable comfort zone. You prefer to be a living sheep than a dead lion. But at 40, the equation changes. Now, remaining a sheep is what kills you, inside. The risk of shining is less than the risk of fading out. Energy does not die, it transforms illness. Physics is clear. Energy is neither created nor destroyed. Your repressed creativity does not disappear because you decide to ignore it. It transforms. If it doesn't come out as creation, art, business, love, it will come out as destruction, illness, addiction, neurosis. Unexpressed creative rage becomes chronic inflammation or ulcers. The need to speak your truth becomes thyroid or throat problems. Repressed sexual and vital passion becomes lower back pain or pelvic issues. Your body is somatizing your unused talent. It's like having a Ferrari engine in the garage and never starting it. The engine rusts, fluids stagnate, and eventually it bursts. Many miraculous healings occur when a person at 50 finally decides to dedicate themselves to what they love. Suddenly, energy flows toward the project and stops attacking the body. Doing what you love is not a hobby, it is a matter of public health. Archaeology of the soul, recovering the magical child. How do we open the bag? How do we recover the gold? We have to do archaeology. You have to go back to the moment before the domestication was complete. Generally, between the ages of 5 and 10. Memory exercise. Close your eyes. Travel to your childhood. Forget what your parents wanted you to be. Remember what you did when no one was watching. What did you do that made you lose track of time? Did you draw maps, organize games and lead other children, heal wounded animals, take apart radios to see how they worked, dress up and act? There is the seed of your golden shadow. That child was not playing. They were rehearsing their life mission. Then they told you that doesn't make money. That is nonsense, and you put it in the bag. At 40, your task is to find that child, apologize for abandoning them for 30 years in the dark, and bring them into the light. It doesn't mean you have to quit your law job tomorrow to be a dancer. It means you have to give space to the dancer in your life as a lawyer. Perhaps you start dancing on Thursdays. Perhaps you dance in your living room, but you give it air. You feed it. 7th, loyalty to the clan's mediocrity. Here we return to the ancestral theme, Chapter 1. Sometimes we repress our talent out of loyalty to the clan. If you come from a family of humble laborers who suffered a lot, and you have the talent to be a millionaire, your unconscious says, if I am rich, I stop being one of them. If I shine, I humiliate my father who couldn't. Then you clip your wings. You stay small so your parents don't feel bad. You stay poor to stand in solidarity with your grandmother's poverty. This is blind and toxic love. Your parents, their souls, do not want your mediocrity. A good ancestor wants their descendant to surpass them. If you shine, you light up the whole tree. If you succeed, you heal the frustration of all those who couldn't. Your success is your lineage's loving revenge against adversity. Stop making yourself small. You aren't doing anyone any favors. Your smallness doesn't help the world. It only embitters you. Vate, imposter syndrome, the treasure guardian. When you decide to open the bag and take out your talent, a demon will appear at the door. Imposter syndrome. Who do you think you are? You're already old for this. There are people much better than you. You're going to make a fool of yourself. That voice is not the truth. It is the ego's defense mechanism. The ego prefers not trying to trying and failing, but at 40 plus you have an advantage. You have already failed. You've already had your heart broken. You've already lost jobs. You've already fallen, and you are still here. You know that failure doesn't kill. Therefore, you can look the imposter in the eye and say, you're right. I might make a fool of myself, it might be late, but I'm going to do it anyway, because I'd rather be a passionate failure than a success who is dead inside. The imposter dissolves before determination. Nausea, integrating the shadow recovery practices. It's not about going from 0 to 100 in one day. It's about microdoses of authenticity. Do something bad. If you've always been the good boy and people pleaser, do something selfish this week. Say no to a commitment. Buy something expensive just for you. Reclaim your ability to put yourself first. Feel the guilt and do it. Do something useless. If you've always been productive and efficient, dedicate 2 hours to something that serves no purpose. Paint an ugly picture. Look at the clouds. Stroll aimlessly. Recover your right to be without doing. Dress your shadow. Buy a piece of clothing your mask self would never wear, but your shadow self loves. Wear it at home. Feel how your energy changes. Reclaim the voice. Sing in the car. Scream in the woods. If your shadow is silence, break it. If your shadow is noise, seek silence. By doing these small actions, you are piercing the bag. The gold starts to come out. You will feel more energetic. You will sleep better. People will see you differently, more attractive, more magnetic. It is the soul's glow returning to the body. X. The legacy of the unlived life. Carl Jung wrote a phrase that should be tattooed on every parent's mind. Nothing has a stronger psychological influence on their children than the unlived life of the parents. If you don't bring out your golden shadow, you pass it on to your children. If you wanted to be a musician and didn't dare, you will pressure your son. You will pressure him to be a musician, even if he wants to be a doctor. Or worse, your child will feel your frustration and be afraid to pursue their own dreams because they saw that it made you unhappy. Children carry the backpacks that parents didn't open. The best legacy you can leave your children is not money. It is the example of a father or mother who dared to be whole, a parent who dared to follow their passion at 40 or 50. That gives them permission to do the same. It teaches them that life is a constant adventure, not a sentence. Heal your shadow for yourself, and you will heal it for them. Chapter 7. Fertile Silence, the Voice of God. We live in the dictatorship of noise. From the moment you open your eyes in the morning until you fall exhausted at night, you are bombarded. Notifications, traffic, background music, podcasts, news, and, worst of all, your own incessant internal dialogue. We have been taught to fear silence. We have been told that silence is empty. They say it is boring, or even worse, that it is loneliness. But ancestral metaphysics knows a truth that modernity has forgotten. Creation never occurs in the midst of noise. The seed germinates under the dark and silent earth. The embryo forms in the silence of the womb. Great ideas are born in the stillness of the early morning. If you have reached the middle of your life feeling disconnected from your purpose or from God, or whatever you want to call the source, it is not because they have abandoned you. It is because there is so much noise on your phone line that you cannot hear the call. Today we are going to hang up the phone. Today we enter the great silence. Horror vacui, the fear of the void. Observe your behavior on any given Sunday when you are left alone at home. How long can you sit on the sofa without turning on the television, without picking up your phone, without playing music, or without calling someone? 5 minutes? 10. Soon a physical discomfort appears, an anxiety that rises through your stomach today, now in your life. It is the horror vacui, fear of the void. The human ego is terrified of silence because silence resembles death. The ego exists through friction, through drama, through the story it tells itself. I am important. I have things to do. People need me. Silence erases that story. In absolute silence, you are not the lawyer nor the mother. You are not the wounded son. You simply are. And for the ego, ceasing to be someone is to die. That is why we fill our lives with noise. Noise is an anesthetic. We use frenetic activity so as not to hear the screams of our own soul. We know instinctively that if we make silence, the monsters from the basement will come out today, now. The unwept sorrows and uncomfortable truths will emerge. So we turn up the volume of life to drown out the whisper of consciousness. But at 40, the anesthetic stops working. You can no longer cover the void with more work or more entertainment. The void looks you in the eye and demands to be filled not with noise but with presence. Praying versus meditating, speaking versus listening. There is a fundamental confusion in modern spirituality. We have been taught to pray. Praying in its most common form is speaking. It is asking. It is sending information upward. God, give me this. God, help me with that. God, why is this happening to me? It is a monologue of the ego projected toward the sky right now, today in your life. It is fine to ask, but if you only speak, when do you hear the answer? Meditation or ancestral contemplation is the opposite. It is listening. It is silencing the mouth and the mind to receive information from above. Kierkegaard, the Danish philosopher, said it masterfully. When my prayer became more and more attentive and divine, I had less. I had less and less to say. In the end, I became completely silent. I began to listen, and I discovered that praying is not asking. Praying is keeping silent and listening to the voice of God. In the middle of life, you have already asked enough. You have already kicked, cried, and demanded. It is time to change the dynamic today, now. It is time to sit on the porch of your soul and say, here I am, I want nothing. I only want to know what you want from me. That change of attitude from beggar to receiver changes everything. The voice of God, or of your higher self or your ancestor guides, is not thunder. It does not compete with traffic. It is a still small voice. It is only heard when everything else is turned off. 3. Incubation, the power of darkness. We live in a solar culture, obsessed with light, visibility, and exposure. If it's not on Instagram, it doesn't exist. But nature teaches us that real life begins in the darkness. The seed needs to be buried, darkness and silence, to break and sprout. If you take it out into the sun every day to see how it's doing, you kill it today. The baby needs 9 months of floating in the darkness of the womb. The caterpillar needs to enclose itself in the cocoon, a tomb of silence, to dissolve and become a butterfly. At 40, you are entering your second gestation. You are gestating your legacy, what we saw in the previous chapter, your golden shadow, in your life right now today. That project, that new identity, that wisdom needs incubation. It needs secrecy. It needs silence. If you tell everyone your plans ahead of time, they lose strength. They evaporate when exposed to the light of others' judgment. Fertile silence is the womb where you protect your dreams until they are strong enough to be born now. Do not be afraid to disappear from the social map for a while. Do not be afraid to spend entire weekends without seeing anyone. You are not isolating yourself. You are incubating yourself. You are accumulating the energy necessary for the birth of your new self. For verbal hemorrhage, losing energy through the mouth. The Toltecs and Taoists agreed on something. We lose 80% of our vital energy through unnecessary speech. Observe how much you speak a day, and of all that, observe how much is truly necessary or nutritious. Complaints about the weather or traffic. Gossip about the lives of others. Justifications of why you do what you do today now. Opinions on topics you do not control and that do not matter to you. Mental arguments with people who are not present. Every useless word is a leak of chi, vital energy. It is a small hemorrhage. You reach the night exhausted, not because of what you have done, but because of what you have said. For a shaman, the word is sacred today now. The word is an act of magical creation. Abracadabra means I create as I speak. Using the word to complain is using the magic wand to hit oneself on the head. At 40 plus, you must become an economist of the word. You must become stingy with your verbal energy. Before speaking, pass it through the 3 filters of Socrates right now today. Is it true? Is it good? Kind? Is it necessary? If it doesn't pass the filters, be silent. Save that energy. You will see that by speaking less, your word acquires weight. When someone who speaks little opens their mouth, everyone listens. Their word has density, it has authority. The chatterbox dilutes power. The silent one concentrates it. Vimauna, the fasting of the word. In India, there is a practice called mauna. It is the vow of silence. It is not a punishment, it is a medicine. I propose a challenge to heal your saturated nervous system, 1 day of total silence. Choose a Saturday or Sunday. Advise your family. Tomorrow I will not speak for mental health. I am not angry, I am in retreat today now. Turn off your phone. Do not read. Reading is listening to the voice of another. Do not write. Do not watch TV. Just be with yourself, with your house, with your garden, or with your walk. At first, the first 3 hours, you will feel anxiety. Your mind will go 1,000 miles an hour screaming, looking for distractions in your world now. You will feel the urge to clean compulsively or to eat. Hold on. Toward the middle of the day, the miracle will occur. The mind, seeing that you are not giving it an exit through the mouth, will surrender. The internal dialogue will begin to slow down. Colors will become brighter. The taste of food will be intense today in your life now. You will hear the wind. You will hear your heart. And suddenly you will feel a peace that you haven't felt since childhood. It is the return to the source. Your energy, which normally disperses outward, returns inward and refills you. The next day, you will feel rejuvenated with your mind sharp as a laser. Silence is the best vitamin. For ancestral listening, the dead speak softly. This book is about legacy. How are you going to know what your legacy is if you don't listen to those who passed it to you? Your ancestors are not dead in the sense of non-existent. They are on another frequency. They try to guide you. They try to tell you, don't go that way or call that person, it's important today now. But their voice is subtle. It is an intuition. It is a slight chill. It is a sudden idea. If you are with headphones on all day or with your mind ruminating on problems, you cannot hear them. It is like trying to listen to a shortwave radio broadcast in the middle of a nightclub. Fertile silence is tuning the radio right now, today now. When you lower the volume of the world, the volume of the spirit rises. Often the solution to that problem that has been tormenting you for months does not come by thinking about it more. It comes when you stop thinking about it. It comes when you sit in silence to look at a candle or a tree. Suddenly, plin, the idea falls complete. You did not manufacture it. They sent it to you. You received it because for a moment you were open and in silence. Great geniuses said they did not invent anything. They received the information in moments of abstraction and silence. You have the same right to that connection. You only have to make space today in your life now. Feel shared silence, real intimacy. It also affects your relationships. Analyze your friendships and your partner. Can you be together in silence without it being uncomfortable? Or do you always have to be talking, doing things, commenting on the movie? Two people who can sit together in a car or a living room without saying anything for an hour have reached intimacy. It is a communion of souls. They do not need noise to know they love each other. Noise often is a barrier to not feel the other. We talk so as not to connect. If you want to deepen your relationship with your partner or children, try sharing silences. Take a walk together without speaking. Look into each other's eyes for 2 minutes. There you will see the other truly. You will see their fatigue, their fear, their beauty, without the mask of words. Silence strips us bare, and only in nakedness is there real love. Fate, clearing the subconscious, the mud. There is a necessary warning. When you start to practice silence, at first you do not find peace. You find mud. It is like a glass of water with dirt at the bottom. While you shake it, noise, activity, the water seems cloudy but uniform. If you leave the glass still, silence, the dirt begins to settle toward the bottom today now. But before it settles, you see the filth. In the first moments of silence, painful memories, shames of the past, and fears of the future will come to you. Many people flee here. I started to meditate and I got worse. It gave me anxiety. It didn't give you anxiety. You became aware of the anxiety you already had right now today. Silence uncovers the pressure cooker. Let the steam out, let the mud out. Do not judge it. Do not get hooked on negative thoughts. Let them pass like black clouds. Behind the mud storm, always, invariably, is the blue sky of calm. You have to go through the discomfort to reach peace. Do not flee. Stand your ground in your life now. Just Kairos time, stopping the clock. The Greeks had 2 words for time, Chronos and Kairos. Chronos is the time of the clock, the one that kills you, the one that ages you. Tick-tock. I'm late. I'm 45 years old. Time is running out. Kairos is the time of God, the opportune moment, vertical time. It is when you are so immersed in something that time disappears today. Silence is the door to Kairos. When you enter deep silence, you step out of the timeline. In that state, you do not age. Your cells rest from the stress of hurry. 30 minutes of Kairos silence regenerate more than 8 hours of Chronos sleep. It is the fountain of eternal youth that the alchemists sought in your world right now. Hurry is a disease of the ego. The soul is never in a hurry because it is eternal. By practicing silence, you remind your body of its eternity. You tell it, calm down. We have all the time in the world. We are going nowhere. We have already arrived. That biochemical signal turns off cortisol and turns on the immune system. Silence heals physically. Practice the 0 hour. I am not going to ask you to go to a monastery. You have a life, a job, perhaps children, but you can reclaim the 0 hour. 1. Choose the moment, ideally very early in the morning, before the world wakes up, or very late at night, or perhaps in the car, before starting work. 2. The space, your sacred corner. 3. The rule. For 20 minutes, the outside world ceases to exist. Phone in airplane mode. Eyes closed or soft gaze on a point, mouth closed. 4. The action. Do nothing. Do not try to clear the mind. Do not try to visualize lights. Do not recite mantras. Simply sit and breathe. Feel the weight of your body today now. Feel the air entering and leaving. Become a witness. Here I am. I am life breathing. 5. The listening. If a thought comes, I have to buy milk. Tell it. Later. And return to the breath. Imagine you are a satellite dish oriented toward the mystery. Wait without anxiety, like one who waits for a beloved today. Do this for 21 days. You will see how your character changes. You will be less reactive. You will get angry less. You will have lucid answers to complex problems. You will become more magnetic. You will have found your center of gravity. Chapter 8. The Sacred Dream, Dream Journey. You will spend approximately 25 years of your life sleeping. Modern society, obsessed with productivity, sees this as a design flaw, a necessary waste of time to recharge the biological battery. But ancestral traditions knew the truth. Night is not a blackout of consciousness. It is the ignition of another life. While your body rests inert in bed, your soul frees itself from gravity and travels. You visit those who have already departed, resolve complex problems in the Council of Sages, and receive instructions for your destiny. If you wake up tired, it is not because you slept poorly. It is because you have worked hard in the subtle planes. Today we are going to learn to remember where you have been and what you have been told. I, the little death dress rehearsal. The Greeks called sleep hypnos and death thanatos. They were twin brothers. Every night when you close your eyes and surrender to unconsciousness, you are practicing the final act of dying. You let go of control. You let go of your name. You let go of your body. You let go of your possessions. You become pure floating consciousness. That is why many people find it difficult to sleep. Insomnia. It is not a medical problem. It is a spiritual problem. They are afraid to let go. They are afraid to trust that life will sustain them if they stop watching over it. Insomnia is the ego's inability to surrender to the soul. At age 40, learning to die well is life insurance. If you learn to navigate the dream world with lucidity and without fear, you lose the fear of physical death. You know from your own experience that you continue to exist even if your body is turned off. You prove it every morning. I was flying. I was talking to my grandmother. I felt real emotions and my body was snoring in bed. Ergo, I am not my body. This experiential certainty is worth more than 1,000 books of theology. Sacred sleep is the daily proof of your immortality. Call the incubation temples the lost medicine. In antiquity, when someone had an illness that physical doctors could not cure, or an unsolvable life problem, they would pilgrimage to the temples of Asclepius in Greece or the temples of Imhotep in Egypt. There they practiced dream incubation. They purified themselves, fasted, and lay down to sleep in the sacred precinct, Abaton. The premise was, the god will come in dreams and heal me or tell me which herb to take. And it happened. People woke up healed or with a clear instruction. Leave your husband, move to the sea, eat this root. We have lost this spiritual technology. Today we go to sleep with a tablet in hand, watching war news or violent series. We contaminate the threshold of the temple with psychic trash, and then we wonder why we have nightmares or wake up with anxiety. We are profaning the nightly laboratory. At 40 plus, your nervous system no longer tolerates that contamination. You need to recover the hygiene of the threshold. Your bedroom is the Abaton. Your bed is the altar. What you put into your mind in the last 30 minutes before sleep is the seed you will incubate for 8 hours. If you plant fear, news, you will harvest anxiety. If you plant gratitude and sacred questions, you will harvest wisdom. Treating sleep as a medical and sacred act again is the key to regenerating your vitality. 3. The nightly council, problem solving. Have you ever gone to sleep with an insoluble mathematical or emotional problem, and upon waking, the solution was clear in your mind? I'll sleep on it, we say. It is not the pillow. It is the nightly council. During the REM phase and deep sleep, delta, your logical brain turns off. The gatekeeper, the ego, goes for a coffee. Then your consciousness has access to the cloud, the collective unconscious or Akashic records. Their information is not linear, it is holographic. You can see the past, the present, and probable futures at the same time. Many Nobel laureates, inventors, and artists admit that their best ideas came in dreams. Edison used to nap with a steel ball in his hand. When he fell deep asleep, his hand relaxed, the ball fell and the noise woke him up. In that second of return, he captured images from the other side before the logical brain erased them. You can do the same without the steel ball. You can program your dream. Before sleep, write a clear question on paper. Not what do I do with my life, too vague, but how can I resolve the conflict with my partner? Or what is the next step for my health? Put the paper under your pillow and say 3 times, I ask for clarity, I ask for an answer. I promise to remember it upon waking. The answer will arrive, sometimes as a symbolic dream, sometimes as an absolute certainty upon opening your eyes. Trust your nightly team. They work for you for free. Use them for encounters with those who departed, real visits. This is the most sensitive and consoling point for middle age. At 40 or 50, it is likely you have already lost loved ones, parents, friends, perhaps partners. Grief is hard in the waking state, but in sleep, the border disappears. There are two types of dreams with the deceased. One, projection dreams. Your brain projects a memory of them. They are usually blurry, confused dreams where the deceased acts strangely or repeats things from the past. It is your mind processing grief. Two, visitation dreams. They are real. The image is hyper-realistic. Colors are more vivid than in daily life. The deceased appears younger, healthy, and radiant. The message is short and telepathic. I am fine. Don't worry. I love you. Upon waking, you feel immense peace and a physical certainty of having been with them. You have no doubt. You say, I saw Dad. These encounters are gifts of the soul. They occur in the astral plane where souls meet. If you have had one, treasure it. Do not let a psychiatrist tell you it is an hallucination of desire. It is a real appointment. If you haven't had them and desire them, ask for them. Ask without desperate attachment. Say, Dad, when you can and they let you, come visit me in my dreams. I am ready to see you. And wait. Sometimes they take months, but they come. Nightmares, the mailman who rings twice. What about bad dreams? Chases, monsters, being naked in public? Jung said nightmares are not punishments, they are attempts at correction by the soul. The unconscious is a self-regulated system. If in your daytime life you are being too arrogant, you will dream you are naked and ridiculous to compensate humility. If in your daytime life you are ignoring a danger or an emotion, your shadow, you will dream that a monster is chasing you. The monster is you. It is the part of you that you have rejected. It chases you not to kill you, but to integrate. It wants you to turn around and look at it. Recurrent nightmares are a red alert signal. There is something in your life, a trauma, a lie, an emotion that you are avoiding facing. The mailman, the dream, knocks on the door. If you don't open, he rings louder, nightmare. If you still don't open, he breaks the door down, physical symptom, not illness. Next time you have a nightmare, do not try to forget it. Sit down, write it, and ask yourself, what part of my life is chasing me? What am I avoiding seeing? Facing the monster in the waking state makes it disappear in the dream. Farka, the water glass technique, psychic connection. This is a famous technique from the Silver method, but it has ancestral roots. Water is the universal conductor between dimensions. If you have a difficult decision to make and logic doesn't help, use this. Before sleep, fill a glass with water. Hold it with both hands, close your eyes, turn your eyes slightly upward. Turn. Formulate your question or problem mentally. Drink half the water. Say, this is all I need to do to find the solution to the problem I have in mind. Go to sleep immediately. Upon waking, before talking to anyone, drink the rest of the water and say, thank you for the answer. The answer will come in a dream that night, or in a flash of intuition during the following day. The ritual act of drinking half and half opens and closes an energetic cycle. It tells your subconscious to work in the interval. Seves, lucid dreams, awakening within the dream. The advanced level of this chapter is lucid dreaming. It is the moment you are dreaming and suddenly realize, I'm dreaming. Everything becomes clear. You can fly. You can walk through walls. You can summon people. For the spiritual seeker, this is not just a fun virtual video game. It is training for death and for enlightenment. The Tibetans practice dream yoga. They say if you can wake up within the dream and control your fear of nightmares, you can wake up at the moment of death and control your fear of the bardo, the transition, choosing your next incarnation or liberating yourself. Being lucid in the dream is proof that your consciousness is independent of physical reality. If you can say, this is an illusion, while in a hyper-realistic dream, you can also say, this is an illusion when you are in physical life and have a serious problem. It gives you detachment. You realize physical life is just another type of dream, a bit denser and slower, but just as malleable if you wake up. Fauti, sleep paralysis, the guardian of the threshold. Many people suffer from this and it terrifies them. You wake up but you cannot move your body. You feel pressure on your chest. You hear buzzing. Sometimes you see shadows. Medicine calls it REM muscle atonia. Esoteric tradition says you are at the threshold of astral travel. Your mind has woken before your body. You are vibrating at two frequencies at once. The fear you feel is the ego's instinctive reaction to dissolution. If it happens to you, do not struggle, do not try to move, do not panic, relax, surrender. Say mentally, I am safe, I am light. If you manage to cross the barrier of fear, that vibration becomes a takeoff. You leave your body. It is a transformative, mystical experience. Seeing your body sleeping in bed from the ceiling changes your paradigm forever. You no longer believe you are a soul, you know it. Paralysis is not an attack. It is a rude invitation to fly. Just the dream journal, Catching Butterflies. Dreams are like butterflies made of fog. If you don't catch them the instant they appear, the sun of logic dissolves them. Within 5 minutes of waking, you have forgotten 50% of the dream. Within 10 minutes, 90%. If you want to activate your dream life, you need a dream journal. A notebook and a pen on the nightstand, not the mobile. Blue light erases melatonin and the theta state. Upon waking, do not move abruptly. Stay in the position you were in, playing dead. Rewind the tape. Where was I? With whom? What did I feel? Catch an image, a color, a phrase. Pull the thread. Write it down immediately, even if it is disconnected. A blue cat, my boss crying, a tunnel. By writing it, you tell your unconscious, I hear you. Your message is important to me. When the unconscious feels heard, it starts sending clearer messages. If you ignore its letters, it stops writing. Keeping a journal for a month will reveal patterns of your life that your conscious mind would never see. Chapter 9. Kairos, Divine Time versus Human Time. You look at the calendar and feel a chill. Not long ago you were 20 and suddenly you are blowing out 40, 50 or 60 candles. The perception of time has accelerated. The days slip through your fingers like water, and an insidious voice in your head whispers, it's too late. What you didn't do you will no longer do. Your best time has passed. That voice is the most paralyzing lie of the Matrix. It is the voice of the god Kronos, the tyrant who devours his children. But there exists another god of time, one that mystics know well, Kairos. The time that is not measured in minutes, but in depth. The time of the perfect opportunity. If you feel behind in life, breathe. You are not late. You are entering your vertical time. I, the tyranny of the clock, Kronos the devourer. In Greek mythology, Kronos, Saturn to the Romans, was the god of linear time. He was represented eating his own children. It is a brutal but exact metaphor for how we live today. Linear time eats us. We wake up with the alarm. Alarm to arms, a military term. We run to work. We eat looking at the clock. We sleep counting the hours we have left. We live under the dictatorship of the tick-tock. At age 40, this dictatorship becomes unbearable because you realize the measuring tape is running out. If life expectancy is 80 years and you are 45, mathematically, you have less left than what you have lived. The ego panics. I haven't done enough. I'm not a millionaire. I haven't written my book. I'm getting old. This anxiety is the result of living exclusively in the horizontal dimension of time. In the horizontal dimension, life is a 100-meter race. If you don't reach the finish line young and fresh, you've lost. But the life of the soul is not a race. It is a dance. And in a dance, the goal is not to reach the end of the song as quickly as possible. The goal is to enjoy every step while the music plays. Modern society idolizes youth because youth is productive for the system, Kronos. Society fears old age because old age is contemplative and wise, Kairos. To escape anxiety, you have to change your god. You have to stop worshipping the clock and start worshipping the moment. To vertical time, the opportune moment. Kairos was the god of the opportune moment. He was represented as a young man with wings on his feet and a single lock of hair on his forehead. It meant that the perfect moment passes quickly and one must grab it by the hair when it arrives. But its deep meaning is metaphysical. Kairos is vertical time. Imagine your life is a horizontal line, past with future. That is Kronos. Now imagine that at one point on that line, you stop and go deep downward or upward. That is Kairos. 1 minute of Kairos can be worth more than 10 years of Kronos. The instant you kissed your love for the first time, the moment you saw your child born, the second you had a spiritual revelation and cried with joy. In those moments, the clock disappeared. You didn't know if 5 minutes or 5 hours had passed. You were eternal. In the middle of life, your task is to accumulate Kairos moments, not Chronos hours. It is no longer about how much time I have left. It is about how much depth I can put into the time I have. If you live 1 year in a state of Kairos, total presence, love, creation, you will have lived more than someone who lives 100 years on autopilot, Chronos. Intensity defeats duration. 30 Japanese bamboo, the myth of lost time. Many reach age 50 feeling like failures. I have wasted my life. I should have started this business at 25. Now it's ridiculous to try. Listen to the story of the Japanese bamboo. You plant the seed, you water it, you fertilize it. For 7 years, nothing happens. The ground is flat. Not even a sprout comes out. An inexperienced person would say, "This seed is dead, I've wasted time watering nothing." But in the 7th year, in a matter of 6 weeks, the bamboo grows 30 meters. Did it grow 30 meters in 6 weeks? No. It grew 30 meters in 7 years and 6 weeks. During the 7 years of apparent silence, it was developing a root system, a gigantic and complex root system, to be able to sustain the height it was going to reach later. If it had grown earlier, without roots, the first wind would have knocked it down. You are that bamboo. Your first 40 years were not lost time. They were root time. They were years of making mistakes, of suffering. Years of learning what you don't want, of maturing your character, of strengthening your resilience. Those are your roots. Now, you are ready for vertical growth. Success that arrives quickly, at age 20, usually destroys the person because they have no roots. Success that arrives late, at 50, is solid, sustained by wisdom. You are not late, you arrive prepared. Fee the late bloomer. Nature is in no hurry. The almond flower comes out in winter. The grape matures in autumn. Is the grape worse than the almond because it arrives months later? No, they are different cycles. In our culture, there is the myth of the child prodigy. Mozart, Zuckerberg. They make us believe that if you don't succeed before 30, you are invisible. But history is full of late bloomers. Colonel Sanders, KFC, failed at everything until age 65. He started his franchise with a social security check. Vera Wang was a skater and journalist. She designed her first wedding dress at 40. Tolkien published The Lord of the Rings at 62. Morgan Freeman's great success in cinema arrived at 50. They lived in Kairos. They knew instinctively that their season was not spring, but late summer or autumn. And the autumn fruit is sweeter, more complex, and lasts longer. Accept your season. Do not try to be a spring flower in October. Be the best pumpkin or the best pomegranate of October. Your beauty lies in your maturity, not in your freshness. The illusion of the window of opportunity. The ego tells you, the window is closing. If you don't marry now, you'll be alone. If you don't change jobs now, you'll be stuck. It's a lie. In the kingdom of the spirit, windows do not close. They transform. If you didn't have biological children at 30, perhaps your physical motherhood window closed, but the window opened. The window of spiritual motherhood opened, creating projects, helping others, mentoring. And often, that second window is more aligned with your soul mission than the first. Sometimes, the universe blocks a path at age 20 to protect you. Perhaps, if you had had that success at 20, you would have become an arrogant jerk. You would have lost your soul. The universe said, no, not yet. Wait until your heart is broken a few times. Wait until you learn humility. Then I will give you the kingdom. What you called bad luck or delay was divine protection. Be grateful for it. Now you are ready to handle power without the power handling you. Fysin aging versus maturing, vinegar or wine. There are 2 ways to age. 1. Like milk, it turns sour, smells bad, and is thrown away. Bitterness, complaint, illness, mental rigidity. 2. Like wine, it becomes more complex, more valuable, and more expensive. Wisdom, serenity, humor, perspective. The difference between becoming vinegar or wine is the acceptance of time. Whoever fights against Chronos, obsessive plastic surgeries, behaving like a teenager at 50, envying the young, becomes sour milk. Resistance to reality rots the soul. Whoever embraces Kairos, accepts their grey hair as crowns of experience, accepts their changing body as a life map, becomes a grand reserver. At 40 plus, your job is to ferment well. Stop trying to look 25. It is pathetic and energetically costly. No one wants to drink wine that pretends to be grape juice. The world is thirsty for real adults. The world needs elders, in the archetypal sense of wise ones, not immature old people. Occupy your place of authority. Your frown line is the price you paid for your discernment. Wear it with pride. Sayafumun, active patience, gestation. Patience is not sitting around waiting. That is resignation. Patience is gestation. It is what the pregnant mother does. She is not waiting for the baby to be born. She is actively making the baby with her body, minute by minute, even if on the outside it seems she is just sitting. When you have a dream at age 45 and it seems like it's not arriving, you are gestating. You are gathering the resources, the contacts, the internal energy. The universe is never late or early. It arrives just in time. If they gave you what you ask for before its time, it would crush you. There is a metaphysical law. The greater the destiny, the longer the gestation. If you are going to build a shack, it takes 2 days. If you are going to build a cathedral, it takes 100 years. If your life has been slow, difficult, and full of delays, be glad. It means the blueprints of your soul are for a cathedral of. God is taking his time with you because you are a complex masterpiece. Fast the speed of God, synchronicity. When you enter Kairos, a strange phenomenon occurs, the acceleration of time. You spend years stuck, and suddenly, in a month, everything changes. You meet the person, they offer you the job, you move. Everything fits with the precision of a Swiss watchmaker. It is synchronicity, we saw it in chapter 7. Synchronicity is the speed at which God travels. It does not travel in a straight line. It travels through quantum shortcuts. To activate synchronicity, you have to let go of the hurry. Hurry is a sign of distrust. It tells the universe, I don't trust you to bring it to me, so I'm going to run myself. And the universe says, okay, you run, I'll sit and watch. And you get tired and you don't arrive. When you stop, breathe and say, I trust my roots. I trust my season. I am ready. The universe says, now yes, let's go. And it puts you in the Kairos elevator. Time Memento Mori, death as an advisor. We cannot talk about time without talking about the end of time. Death. At 20, death is a distant rumor. At 40, you start to see it from the corner of your eye. Your parents get sick or die. Friends your age have heart attacks. This is not to depress you, it is to wake you up. The Stoics used Memento Mori, remember you will die, as a vital tonic. Knowing that your time in Chronos is limited gives infinite value to your time in Kairos. If you knew you were going to live forever, today would have no value. You could postpone love, forgiveness, or the dream eternally. But you're not going to live forever in this body. That makes this coffee, this conversation, this sunset sacred. They are unrepeatable. Use death as an advisor, not as an executioner. When you have doubts about making that trip or calling that person, ask your death. Death, if you come looking for me in a year, will I regret not having done this? If the answer is yes, do it. Death cuts through the nonsense. It cuts through the fear of what they will say. Death doesn't care if you make a fool of yourself. It cares if you truly lived. Practice the temporal stop. We are going to practice conscious entry into Kairos. You can do it anywhere, in the supermarket line, in a traffic jam, in the office. The signal. When you feel the anxiety of the hurry, I'm late, I don't have time, say mentally, stop. The anchor. Feel your feet on the ground. Feel the weight of gravity. That takes you out of your head, future, and brings you down to the body, present. The breath. Take 3 deep breaths, releasing the air very slowly. The observation. Look at a nearby object with laser attention. A flower, the texture of the steering wheel, your child's hand. Look at it as if you were an alien seeing it for the first time. Observe the light, the shadow, the color, the mantra. Say internally, I am exactly where I need to be. I lack nothing. This moment is complete. I am in my divine time. By doing this, you cut the cable with Kronos. Anxiety drops instantly, and curiously, when you relax, time seems to stretch. You get more done, you arrive on time, or if you arrive late, it turns out the other person was also delayed, and everything is fine. You have synchronized with the flow. Chapter 10, The Archetype of the Elder, Wisdom. We live in an adolescent culture, a culture that runs, that screams, that consumes, and that fears the wrinkle as if it were the mark of the plague. They have sold us the idea that life is a roller coaster, that rises until 30 and then dives toward irrelevance and death. It is the saddest lie of the West. In ancestral traditions, youth was only the preparation. True life, the life of power and influence, began when the hair turned white. The young person has strength, but the elder has authority. The young person knows the map, but the elder knows the terrain. If you feel invisible, it is because you are trying to compete in the game of youth. A game that you already won and surpassed. Today we are going to stop playing at being young to start occupying the throne that belongs to us, the throne of the sage. At the fall of the hero, the end of the war, during the first half of your life, from approximately 20 to 45, you lived under the archetype of the hero. The hero has to go out into the world, kill dragons, get a job, conquer the castle, buy a house, and find the treasure, partner, success. It is a solar, expansive, muscular, and egocentric energy. It is necessary. Without the hero, the species would go extinct. But a day comes when the hero gets tired. The sword is heavy. The dragons no longer impress. The castle is conquered, or you realize it wasn't worth it. And yet, society pushes you to remain the hero eternally. Keep undertaking, keep traveling, keep flirting, keep looking young. This creates the old adolescent. It is pathetic to see a 60-year-old competing with 20-year-olds, dressing like them, operating on their face to erase their history. It is pathetic because it is an abdication. You are renouncing a higher rank, elder, to try to maintain a lower rank, youth. Spiritual maturity requires the death of the hero. You have to hang up the sword. You no longer have to prove anything to anyone. You no longer have to conquer. Now your mission is to govern what was conquered and teach the new heroes. The hero acts, the elder is. The hero makes noise. The elder emanates presence. Accepting that your stage of physical expansion has ended is not a defeat. It is the graduation toward spiritual expansion. To social invisibility, the mantle of power. From age 50 on, especially women begin to feel that they become invisible. You enter a store and they don't look at you. At work, they look at the young intern. The ego suffers. It feels despised. But ancestral metaphysics turns the tables. Invisibility is a superpower. In tribes, the shaman or the wise grandmother often lived a bit apart, at the edge of the fire. They were not in the center of the dance calling for attention. They were observing. When you are invisible, you can see without being seen. You can read people's intentions. You can capture the hidden dynamic of the room. Invisibility takes you off the stage and puts you in the director's booth. You stop being the actor who seeks applause and become the director who understands the play. Do not fight to be seen by the mass. The mass is blind. Fight to be seen by those who seek the truth. He who needs your wisdom will find you. Your light is no longer a blinding disco spotlight, it is a lighthouse on the coast. The lighthouse does not run along the beach looking for ships. The lighthouse stays still and shines, and the ships that want to be saved come to it. Thirst, the chair by the fire holding the space. What is the function of the elder if they no longer do productive things? Their function is to hold the space. Imagine a family in crisis. Everyone screams, runs, cries, and in the armchair is the grandfather or grandmother, still, breathing calmly. They say nothing, but their mere presence prevents the family from disintegrating. Their calm acts as an anchor for the hysteria of others. That is gravitas. At 40, 50 plus, your nervous system has processed so many crises that you no longer scare easily. You know that this too shall pass. You know that after the storm comes the sun. That biological certainty radiates outward. You become the emotional thermostat of your environment. If you are calm, others calm down through resonance. Your job is no longer to run to solve problems. Your job is to keep the frequency high so that problems dissolve on their own. You are the guardian of the frequency. That is why houses without elders are neurotic houses. They lack the ballast to lead the earth. Claim your chair. Sit with dignity. Your silence is worth more than 1,000 pieces of advice. Has the power to bless the magic wand. In antiquity, no one undertook a journey, a war, or a marriage without asking for the blessing of the elders. Today, we have forgotten this ritual. And it is a tragedy, because the elder has the metaphysical power to bless. To bless comes from benedicere, to speak well. It is using the word to invoke divine favor upon someone. When a father or grandfather looks at his grandson and says, "I see you, you are good, you are going to go far," he is injecting a nuclear fuel of confidence that will last a lifetime. When an elder criticizes, judges, or complains, this youth is lost. They are cursing. They are using their authority to weaken the future. Many old people today are cursers. They are embittered. Your initiatory work is to become a blesser. Even if youth is arrogant, even if they make stupid mistakes, the same ones you made, your duty is to look at them with compassion and wish them well. Your gaze validates their existence. If you become a source of blessings, you will never be alone. People will approach you like bees to honey because the world is hungry for parental approval. Everyone is looking for someone to tell them everything is going to be fine. Be that person. That is your true legacy. The truth without anesthesia, the sword of discernment. There is another advantage to aging. You no longer have anything to lose. At 20, you lie to be liked. You lie to get the position. You lie so they love you. At 50, you realize that lying is exhausting. The elder earns the right to radical truth. You no longer need to impress anyone. You can say no without giving explanations. You can say "I love you" without fear of rejection. You can say "that is stupid" when you see stupidity. This brutal honesty, if mixed with love, is pure medicine. Society is full of falsehood and political correctness. The elder is the only one authorized to cut through hypocrisy with the sword of experience. Son, stop deceiving yourself. That woman does not love you. Boss, this project is an ethical error. You say it without rage. You say it as one who notes that it is raining. At first, people are afraid, but then they respect you, because you are one of the few who dares to be real. Being authentic is the privilege of those who have already paid all their debts to society. Phi, the transparent body, the beauty of the ruin. Let's talk about the body. It sags, it hurts, it wrinkles. Culture tells you to hide it or repair it. Metaphysics tells you the body becomes transparent to let the light out. A new paper lantern is opaque. An old lantern worn by the wind lets more light from the inner candle pass through. Your wrinkles are the paths where life has traveled. Your scars are survival maps. Your eyes, if you have done the inner work, shine brighter now than at 20. In Japan, there is the art of kintsugi. When a vase breaks, they repair it with gold. The broken vase is more valuable than the new one. You are that vase. Your breaks have made you unique. Stop trying to look like a new plastic vase. Assume your beauty of sacred ruin. There is a dignity in the old oak that the young sapling will never have. Walk slowly, not because you cannot run, but because every step of yours is an affirmation of the earth. Inhabit your body with gratitude. Do not insult it by wanting to change it. 7. The fear of irrelevance, the ego that won't surrender. The greatest enemy at this stage is not death, it is irrelevance. The ego screams, "If I don't produce, I am worthless. If they don't call me, I don't exist." Many fall into depression after retirement or when the children leave, empty nest. They feel that their function has ended. Error. Your biological function, reproduce, provide, has ended. Your spiritual function, illuminate, guide, has just begun. But there is a trap. No one is going to give you the position of sage. There is no job offer on LinkedIn for elder of the tribe. You have to self-proclaim, you have to assume the rank yourself. If you stay waiting for society to value you, you will die waiting. You have to value yourself, you have to start acting like a sage, speaking like a sage, dressing with the dignity of a sage, and then the world will treat you as such. Irrelevance only exists if you keep measuring your worth by your economic utility. Your value now is your being. A mountain doesn't do anything. It doesn't produce money, but its presence defines the landscape and affects the climate. You are the mountain. Fate, mentoring, the river must flow. Stagnant water rots. Wisdom not shared becomes bitterness, senility. To stay lucid and vital, you have to pass the torch. Look for someone to teach. You don't need to give lectures. It can be teaching your grandson to fish. It can be listening to a young colleague at work. It can be writing your memoirs. The act of mentoring is the natural cycle. You give experience. They give you vitality and connection with the present. It is a fair exchange. But beware. To teach is not to impose. The toxic elder says, "In my day it was better, you have to do it like this." The wise elder says, "I did it like this and learned this, see what works for you." Offer your fruit, but do not force anyone to eat it. Detachment is the key to mastery. Thus, the preparation for the great journey. Finally, the elder is the only one who can look death in the face without blinking. In tribes, the elders were the mediators between the world of the living and that of the spirits. They lived on the border. As you age, the veil becomes thinner. You begin to see things, you have more lucid dreams, you feel those who left. You are not going crazy. You are becoming a shaman. You are preparing for the final journey, and your preparation helps others to lose their fear. If you die with serenity, with curiosity, and with courage, you give your family the greatest gift. Confidence in life and in death. You teach them that dying is safe, that it is only crossing a door. X practice, the winter coronation. No one is going to come to put a crown on you. You have to do it yourself. This is a psychomagic ritual to accept your age and your power. 1. The mirror. Stand in front of a large mirror, naked or in comfortable clothes, with good light. 2. Observation. Look at yourself. Do not look at the defects. Look at the history. Look at the grey hair. Look at the wrinkles. Look at gravity operating. 3. Acceptance. Say out loud, "I, your name, accept my age. I accept my autumn-winter. I renounce the war of youth. I renounce competing. I release the sword of the hero." 4. Coronation. Imagine that you put on a heavy, ancient crown of gold and iron, or a velvet mantle over your shoulders. Feel the weight of authority. 5. The decree. I assume my throne of elder. I assume my power of wisdom. I declare myself guardian of my lineage. From today, I do not seek to be looked at. I am the one who looks. From today, I do not seek to receive. I am the one who blesses. May my presence be peace for my people. 6. The gesture. Sit in a comfortable chair, your throne. Breathe. Feel how the earth holds you. You no longer have to run. You have arrived. Chapter 11. Death as an advisor, Memento Mori. A day comes generally when you cross the border of middle age, when you realize an arithmetic truth. You have less life ahead of you than behind you. The horizon line, which at 20 seemed infinite, suddenly has a visible edge. For most, this discovery is the source of the midlife crisis at age 40 or 50. They buy sports cars, change partners, or have surgery on their faces, trying to deny reality. But the initiate, the one who seeks a legacy, does something much braver. He invites death to have tea. He sits with her and asks, "Since you are going to take me, teach me how to live before it is too late." Death is not the executioner. She is the only advisor who never lies to you. Today we are going to learn to use your own finiteness as a compass, so you never get lost again. The great denial, living as immortals. We live in the only civilization in history that has expelled death from daily life. Our grandparents held wakes for the dead on the dining room table. Children saw the body, touched the cold skin, and understood the cycle. Today, death occurs in sterilized rooms connected to machines, hidden behind curtains and euphemisms. We say they're gone or they left us. We don't say they died. This collective denial has a devastating psychic price, the neurosis of immortality. We live as if we were going to be eternal in this body. We postpone important dreams. "I'll do it when I retire." We keep stupid grudges for decades. We worry about trifles. "I have a wrinkle. The car has a scratch." Only an immortal has time to waste on hating, postponing, or worrying about aesthetics. The mortal knows he has no time for that. At 40, life starts giving you wake-up calls. A friend your age has a heart attack. Your parents enter final decay. The veil is torn. You have two options. 1. Be terrified and flee, become a ridiculous old adolescent. 2. Use the shock to wake up, become a real adult. Death is the loudest alarm clock in the universe. Its function is not to scare you. It is to pull you out of the coma of automatism. The advisor on the left, the Toltec teaching. Carlos Castaneda, in his teachings with the Yaqui shaman Don Juan Matus, left one of the most powerful lessons about death. Death is our eternal companion. She is always on our left, an arm's length away. Don Juan taught that when you feel confused or angry over a trifle, you should turn to your left and ask your death. Ask her, is this truly important? And your death will answer, no, the only thing that matters is that I am still touching you. Everything else is triviality. This practice changes your life instantly. You are in a traffic jam, furious because you are late. You look to your left, you visualize your death smiling patiently. You ask her, is this anger worth it? She says, I could touch your shoulder in 5 minutes and this would be your last moment on earth. Do you want to die screaming in a car? Immediately, the anger dissolves. You play music. You enjoy the scenery. You are grateful to be alive in the traffic jam. Death distills reality. She separates the essential from the trash. Only death has the authority to tell you what is stupid and what is sacred. 3rd, Memento Mori. Remember that you are mortal. The Roman Stoics had slaves who whispered in their ears during victory parades, Memento Mori. Remember you will die. It wasn't to depress them. It was to keep them sane, so they wouldn't get drunk on ego, so they would know that glory is smoke. At 40 plus, you need your own Memento Mori. You don't need a slave, you need symbols. Put a skull on your desk like the philosophers did, or put up a photo of your deceased ancestors, or simply use your own biology. Every time your knee hurts, every time you see a new grey hair, do not see it as an aesthetic defect. See it as a telegram from destiny. The telegram says, time is running out, use it well. The awareness of death gives urgency, but not the urgency of stress, neurotic hurry, but the urgency of passion. It makes you call that person you love today. It makes you write that book today. It makes you forgive today. Procrastination is a disease of those who believe time is guaranteed. He who knows he may not wake up tomorrow does it today. The fear of the unlived life. Why are we so afraid to die? Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, the mother of palliative care, discovered something fascinating accompanying thousands of dying people. We are not afraid of death. We are afraid of not having lived. The terror of death is directly proportional to the amount of unlived life you accumulate inside you. The one who has lived fully, who has risked, who has loved, who has spoken their truth, reaches the end tired but satisfied, like someone who reaches bed after a day of glorious hiking in the mountains. They surrender to sleep with gratitude, but the one who has held back, who has lived with the handbrake on, the one who has lived the life of others, reaches the end with panic. No, not yet, I haven't started. That scream is hell. At age 40, you are still in time to avoid that scream. Use your fear of death as a scanner. What are you panicked about leaving half done? A book, a trip, a conversation? Do it. The only way to lose the fear of dying is to empty yourself of life every day. Reach the night empty, having given everything. If you empty yourself every day, death cannot steal anything from you, because you have already given it all. V. Ars Moriendi, The Art of Dying Well. In the Middle Ages, there were manuals called Ars Moriendi. They taught how to die with dignity and consciousness. Today, we die poorly. We die sedated, intubated, without saying goodbye, fighting uselessly against the inevitable. At 40 plus, you must start preparing your good death. This is not morbid, it is strategic. A good death is the last act of generosity toward your family. 1. The legal will. Do not leave bureaucratic problems. That is leaving hatred. Order your papers. 2. The living will. Decide how you want to be treated if you cannot speak. Do you want machines? Do you want home? Take the burden of that decision off your children. 3. The spiritual will. What values do you leave? What truths have you discovered? Write it down, record a video. That is your true legacy. 4. Swedish death cleaning, dödstädning. This is a Nordic practice. From 50 on, you start cleaning your house of useless things. I'm not leaving my kids a basement full of junk. Cleaning your house thinking of your death is an act of supreme love. You make their grief easier, and in the process you live your last years lighter. Feather little deaths, training. Do not wait for physical death to practice dying. Life is a succession of little deaths. Divorce is a death. Firing is a death. Moving is a death. Menopause, andropause is a death of biological youth. Every time something ends, the ego resists. It kicks. It wants everything to stay the same. The sage knows that to be reborn one must die. Accept the little deaths with elegance. When you are fired, do not cling. Grieve and let go. The employee self has died. The entrepreneur self is born. When your children leave home, do not cling. The mother hen self has died. The wise woman self is born. If you practice letting go in the small things, when the big thing arrives, physical death, you will be an expert. You will know that after every exhalation comes an inhalation. You will know that death is not a wall, but a revolving door. 7. The judgment of Osiris, the balance of the heart. The Egyptians believed that upon dying, the soul had to pass through the hall of Mut. There the god Anubis put your heart on a scale. On the other plate, he put an ostrich feather, symbol of truth and lightness. If your heart weighed more than the feather, loaded with guilt, resentment, lies, you were devoured. If your heart was as light as the feather, you passed into eternity. This metaphor is the definitive guide for the second half of life. Your only job from now on is to lighten the heart. How is it lightened? 1. Truth. Stop lying. Lies weigh tons. 2. Forgiveness. Resentment is lead. Let go of judgment. Let go of judgment of your parents, your exes, your partners, not for them, but so that your heart does not weigh on the scale. 3. Detachment. Letting go of the need to control the result. Each night, do your own judgment of Osiris. Is my heart light today? Am I going to sleep with any stones? If there is a stone, take it out before sleeping. Pray, forgive, write. Do not accumulate weight for tomorrow. Live light, travel light, die light. Fate. The funeral, therapeutic visualization. We are going to do the Stoic exercise par excellence. It is hard, but it cleans the vision like a collyrium of fire. Exercise. Close your eyes. Visualize your own funeral, not 40 years from now. Tomorrow. You have died suddenly. Look at the coffin. Look at who is there. Who cries for real, not out of social obligation? Who didn't go and you thought they were important? What do they say about you? Listen to the conversations. Do they say, he was a hard-working man who paid his bills? What a sad epitaph. Or do they say, she was a woman who lit up the room? What do you regret not having said? Now open your eyes. You are still alive. The coffin has disappeared. You have a second chance. That person you missed at the funeral, call them today. That project you regretted not having done, start it today. That grey image they had of you, and change it today. Change it. You are living on borrowed time. You have returned from death to fix your life. That is the awakening. 9. The connection with the invisible. As you approach death, fear decreases if your spiritual connection increases. If you believe you are only flesh and bones that rot, the terror is absolute. If you know, by experience, by meditation, by dreams, that you are conscious energy, death is only a move. At 40+, spirituality stops being a weekend hobby and becomes a survival necessity. You need to build your body of light. You need to familiarize yourself with the territory you are going to. Read about near-death experiences, NDEs. Read the Tibetan Book of the Dead. Map the terrain. When one knows the map, the journey is not scary. Death is the return home. It is returning to the ocean after having been a separate and frightened drop. If you cultivate this vision, aging becomes the path back to the original embrace. You stop fleeing from the grave and start walking toward the mystery. Legacy is what survives. Finally, we understand what legacy is. Legacy is not your money. The money will be spent or fought over. Legacy is not your house. they will sell it. Legacy is the energetic footprint you leave in others. It is the way your children solve problems because they saw you solve them calmly. It is your friend's smile when he remembers a joke of yours. It is the anonymous charity you did that changed someone's life. That does not die. The energy of your acts reverberates in eternity. You remain alive in every act of kindness you sowed. That is the true ancestral immortality. Not living forever as an ego, but living forever as a positive influence in the fabric of life. Kind practice, the farewell letter. Do not wait to be sick. Do it now in full health. Write a letter to your loved ones, title it, "To be read when I am no longer here." Do not talk about the distribution of assets, that goes in the notary. Talk from the heart. Ask for forgiveness for your specific errors. Tell them how proud you are. Give them your best advice, that life secret that cost you 40 years to learn. Tell them not to stay sad, to live. Keep it in a safe place and let them know where it is. The act of writing it will free you from a gigantic weight. You will know that whatever happens tomorrow, the important stuff is said. Nothing was left in the inkwell. That peace will allow you to live with a lightness and joy unknown to most. He who has his suitcase packed enjoys the trip more because he is not afraid of the departure time. Chapter 12. The Torch, the Spiritual Legacy. In the relay races of ancient Greece, the winner was not the one who reached the finish line first, but the one who arrived first with the torch lit. If you ran very fast, but the wind blew out your fire, you were disqualified. Life works exactly the same way. It is useless to have accumulated fortunes or fame if you hand over a cold torch. If at the end of the journey you deliver a cold torch full of fear to the next generation, you have failed. Your final mission, which gives meaning to all the suffering and learning of the last 40 or 50 years, is to protect the sacred fire of consciousness and pass it to those who come behind so they can see in the dark better than you. Either fire is not yours, the bearer. The first thing you must understand about legacy is that it does not belong to you. Life, consciousness, the Great Spirit, is an eternal flame that exists before you and will exist after you. You are simply the temporary candle that holds the flame for 80 or 90 years. Your body is the wax. It is consumed. It is inevitable today now. But if you bring your wick close to that of another candle before consuming yourself, the flame jumps. The first candle dies, but the fire continues to live in the second candle. That is real immortality. The ego wants physical immortality. That is impossible. The soul wants spiritual immortality. That is the legacy today in your world. At 40, you stop obsessing over protecting your wax, your body, your ego, and start obsessing over protecting the fire. What quality of fire do you have? Is it a clean and bright fire, wisdom, love, courage? Or is it a smoky and toxic fire, resentment, prejudice, fear? What you pass to the next runner will determine their journey today. 2. The golden link, breaking the curse. In Chapter 1, we spoke of invisible loyalties and how you inherited emotional trash from your parents. Now, at the end of the book, you are the parent. Your greatest legacy is not what you give. It is what you do not give. Your greatest legacy is having cut the transmission chain of trauma now in your life, right now, today in your world. If your grandfather was an alcoholic, your father was an alcoholic, and you have achieved sobriety, that is your legacy. You have stopped the curse. You have cleaned the blood for your children. If the women of your lineage were submissive, and you have built a relationship of respect, you have changed the spiritual genetics of your clan. Being the golden link means that the toxicity that entered you stopped with you. You were the filter. You were the alchemist who swallowed the poison and transformed it into medicine. Your descendants will not have to fight those battles. They will be born free of that burden. That gift is worth more than 100 houses in inheritance. Thrased the good ancestor, cathedral thinking. Modern society suffers from pathological short-termism. We think about the next fiscal quarter or the next elections. Indigenous cultures thought about the 7th generation. Before cutting down a forest, they ask themselves, how will this affect the children of my children 200 years from now, today in your life? At 40 plus, you must adopt cathedral thinking. The architects who laid the first stone of a medieval cathedral knew they would not see it finished. Their grandchildren would finish it. But they started it anyway, with excellence, so the foundations would last centuries. You are building an invisible cathedral in your world today now. What are you planting today that will give shade to people you will not know? Writing a book, planting trees, creating a foundation. The good ancestor is the one who plants trees under whose shade they know they will never sit. It is the supreme act of selflessness, and paradoxically it is what fills the heart the most today now. Children of the spirit beyond biology. This point is crucial. You do not need to have biological children to leave a legacy. In fact, many people have biological children and leave no spiritual legacy, and many people without children leave legacies that change humanity. Your children are all those people or projects that you nourish with your energy today in your world. If you are a teacher, your students are your spiritual children. If you are an uncle or aunt, your nephews receive from you what their parents cannot give them. Spiritual parenthood is a function of consciousness, not biology. It consists of looking at someone younger and saying, "I believe in you, I see you, I pass you my strength." Do not feel sterile if you have not procreated. Your fertility is in your capacity to inspire. If you have helped a single person to have hope, you are already a father or mother of the world. Your torch has lit another candle. Your mission is accomplished. You have shared your light with the world right now today in your life now. The ethical will, the Magna Carta of your life. We all worry about making a will before a notary, so they don't fight over the beach apartment. But almost no one makes an ethical will. Jews have a millenary tradition called Zava'ah. It is a letter that parents write to children before dying, not to distribute goods, but to distribute values today in your life right now today. It is the condensation of your wisdom. At 40 or 50, start writing your Zava'ah. Do not wait for your deathbed. Write, "Son, friend, what served me most in life was honesty, even if it cost me money. Do not fear failure. My greatest successes came from my worst falls." This document is a treasure map in your world right now today. When you are no longer here, your voice will continue guiding them through those lines. It is an eternal compass. Imagine what you would give to have such a letter from your great-great-grandfather. You can be that ancestor for the future. Write your truth. Write what has bled you and what has healed you in your life now. Letting go of control, trust in the seed. Part of passing the torch is letting go of it. Many parents or mentors make the mistake of wanting to control how the next runner carries the fire. Watch out, you'll burn yourself, don't run so fast. That is not bequeathing, that is suffocating. To be a wise ancestor, you have to trust the seed you planted today in your life. You have to accept that your children will make their own mistakes. Perhaps they stumble and the flame goes out for a moment. They will have to learn to light it themselves, and that is fine. Your job is to give them the tools, not to live life for them. The gardener plants the seed but cannot stretch the plant by hand today. He has to trust the intelligence of life. At 40+, practice loving detachment. Look at the young with benevolence, but without interfering unless they ask for help. Allow them the sacred right to be wrong. Your mistakes made you wise. Their mistakes will make them wise. Trust the process of their own evolution right now today. Serfin, the energetic trace, the perfume. Beyond words and works, you leave something more subtle, your vibration. They say that when a saint dies, the place smells of roses for years. It is a metaphor for the energetic trace. How do people feel when you are near? Do they feel calmer, more capable, more loved? Or do they feel judged, tense, and small today in your life? That flavor you leave in the environment is your most immediate legacy. Your house will be impregnated with your energy. Your personal objects will have your charge. If you have cultivated inner peace, you leave a trail of peace wherever you go. People will say, "I don't know what it was, but being with them healed me now." That is the perfume of the soul. Work on your interior, not only for yourself, but to perfume the world. A person who has healed their resentment cleans the psychic atmosphere of their entire community. You are a human air purifier. Your presence alone becomes a gift to the collective consciousness in your world right now today. 8. The death of selfishness, service. In the first half of life, the question is, what can the world give me? In the second half, the question must change to, what can I give the world? This Copernican shift is the door to mature happiness. Selfishness is a bottomless pit. It never fills. Service is a fountain. The more you give, the more you have now. I do not speak of a martyr or sacrificial service. I speak of giving what you have in excess, what overflows you. Your golden shadow is your gift. If you are good at listening, listen. Giving your gift is the highest form of receiving. When you become a channel for life to flow to others, you feel alive, useful, and connected. Midlife depression is often cured with service. When you stop looking at your own navel and look at the pain of others, your problems are put in perspective, and your energy is mobilized. By helping others, you help yourself, creating a cycle of abundance that enriches your soul and the lives of those around you right now today. Thus, the circle closes, returning to the origin. We started this book talking about the ancestors who passed the burden to you. We end with you being the ancestor who releases the burden. The circle has closed. You have completed the hero's journey. You left home, you faced the monsters, you found the treasure, your authentic self, and now you return to the village today. You return to distribute the gold. You are no longer a victim of the past. You are the creator of the future. You have transformed lead into gold. You have fulfilled your contract. By standing in your power, you offer a new map for those who follow, turning your individual victory into a collective liberation in your world now. Practice the golden chain. This is the final visualization exercise to seal your legacy. The position: sit in silence, close your eyes, take a deep breath. Backwards, visualize a hand on your right shoulder. It is your father. Behind him, his father. And so on, an infinite chain of men. Visualize a hand on your left shoulder. It is your mother now. Behind her, her mother. An infinite chain of women. Feel the energy, now clean by your work, flowing from the origin of time to you. You are the spearhead. Receive it. Forwards. Now visualize that from your heart comes a ray of golden light forward. That ray touches your children, your projects, the people you have helped. And from them, another ray comes out towards their descendants. You see a luminous network that extends into the future, getting lost in the horizon of the centuries. The transmission. Say mentally, I am the bridge. Through me passes life. I take the strength of the past and deliver it purified to the future, now today. The flame keeps burning. My life has had meaning. The chain has not broken, it has become golden. The repose. Stay a few minutes feeling that total connection. You are not an island. You are a wave in the eternal ocean. You are part of something vast and sacred that transcends time and space in your world right now. Taylor conclusion. Mission accomplished. The day will come when your physical body turns off. But if you have done this work, you will not entirely die. You will live in the freedom of your grandchildren. You will live in the peace of your home. You will live in the words of truth you left written. You will live in the love you sowed today in your life. That is the only immortality that matters. You have carried the torch with dignity. You have run your stretch of the race well. The wind blew hard. There were storms. You almost fell. But you protected the fire. Now, look at the runner coming by your side. The new generation. Bring your flame close to them right now. Watch how it catches their torch. Watch how their eyes shine with the reflection of your light. Smile. Your work is done. You can let go of the torch. You can rest. The fire continues. You have fulfilled your role in the great cosmic dance, and the light you shared will burn forever in the hearts of others today. Conclusion. The closing of the circle. Close your eyes for a moment. Feel the weight of your body in the chair. Feel the air entering and leaving your lungs. That air you breathe is the same that your parents, your grandparents, and the first men and women who walked the earth breathed. The air is the connecting thread, and you are the present knot in that infinite rope. We have reached the end of this journey, but you know deep in your heart that this is not an end, it is a threshold. When you started this book, perhaps you felt tired. You felt burdened with a backpack of stones that were not yours. Emotional debts, loyalties to pain, inherited fears. You felt like the lost and confused black sheep. Now you know the truth. You were never the black sheep by mistake. You were strategically designed by your soul and by your clan to be the sheep of light. You were chosen to be the turning point. Look back one last time. Look at that army of ancestors at your back. No longer see them as ghosts demanding payments from you. See them for what they are, the root that sustains you. They survived wars, famines, and epidemics so that your DNA would arrive intact today. Their pain was the price of your life. And today, having healed yourself, having understood the game, you have returned their dignity. You have turned their pain into wisdom. You have closed the circle of trauma. And now look forward. Look at your children, your grandchildren, or the people you will touch with your work and your presence. The path that opens before them is cleaner because you passed through here. They will no longer have to stumble over the same stones. You have given them a future free of ghosts. That is your invisible legacy. It is not seen in banks, it is not seen in property registries, but it is felt in the lightness of their steps. You did not arrive late to your life. You arrived just in time for the best part. The first 40 or 50 years were the training, the forge, the fire. Now you are steel. Now you are the elder, the wise one, the guardian. Do not waste another minute in complaint, in guilt, or in the fear of growing old. Growing old is your victory. Every additional year is another year of mastery that you gift to the world. Go out there, occupy your place, speak your truth, love without fear. And when the moment comes to depart, do so with the smile of one who knows they left the house more orderly and luminous than they found it. The torch is in your hand, the fire is yours. Go and shine.